Tonight, we're taking a deep dive into the world of AI with a special focus on ChatGPT.
Everybody's using the AI-generated images from these in their social media apps.
How I love being a woman.
It's just really taken off in the past couple of weeks.
Artificial intelligence, AI, you know about it. It's been around for a while, but it's exploded over the last few days as a wave of people began using the technology. Have you done it yet to create some really interesting pictures?
It's beautiful, I think.
It's the app that's taken social media by storm, from celebrities to TikTokers, all putting their face through the Lensa AI app.
Relax, killer robots haven't taken over yet. But the internet's going crazy over new artificial intelligence called ChatGPT. The program can write really complex essays, books, news articles, and even computer code. And it's really good.
The revolutionary new language model developed by OpenAI with the ability to generate human-like text and hold natural conversations.
We're definitely in a very exciting time with the development of artificial intelligence. It's becoming really, really sophisticated at this point.
A sophistication that's introducing AI to millions who never used the technology before. Check your social media feed. You'll see images like this from an app called Lensa, or answers to questions from ChatGPT, created by a company called OpenAI. Today, it crossed 1 million users. AI trackers are calling this a crossover moment.
So that's kind of interesting how this shift in this kind of AI that's in some ways been there for quite a while has now been given like a new lease of life or a new kind of accessibility that makes regular people able, more comfortable embracing it.
It's pretty good. But mankind better be careful. Experts warn this thing has the potential to take your job. Kids can use these to cheat and have it write papers for them, where it can impersonate your friends to give up your passwords. And the biggest fear is AI becomes so smart, it finds a way to control humanity.
And this one is kind of freaking me out a little bit.
You upload 10 to 20 photos of your face. Think selfies or portraits.
The more angles and face expressions the photos have, the better results you can achieve.
Then, after about half an hour, Lensa generates dozens, even hundreds of pieces of digital art called magic avatars. But this morning, the question, how safe is your data when you use it?
But the tech is also raising concerns, like what happens if those AI answer generators give you the wrong answer or do the work for you?
If we have students who have the ability to just go online and have an AI write an essay for them, we're going to have to figure out new ways to evaluate students.
There's a long list of potential ethical concerns if generative AI does indeed take off. First, disinformation and misinformation. Think deepfakes, but on steroids.
A classic example is, taking the image and the voice of the president, having him say something he would have never done. The consequences could be severe in the sense of it creates misinformation and other things. These technologies can also be used to harass people, right? You could take an image of a person that you may not like and have them do something, and it can have a lot of negative consequences.
The filters are modeled after the styles of popular artists, leaving some to question the integrity of the filters and whether artists are actually being ripped off.
Artists saying, hey, you're taking years of my work and you're saying that someone can upload 10 selfies of themselves and get this illustration.
I was reading in one of the articles that it is as significant as electricity and fire in terms of what it can do. We already have robots that are on crime scenes that are, whether it's bombs or whether it's just, supervising and going around with a video camera.
It sounds and looks like the crime-fighting tools of the future. San Francisco supervisors have approved a policy letting police use remote-controlled robots that are capable of deploying deadly force.
Police officers in a major American city have been given the authority to use remote-controlled robots that are capable of using deadly force in emergency situations.
A spokesperson says the department could deploy robots equipped with explosive charges to, quote, contact, incapacitate, or disorient violent armed or dangerous suspect.
A mechanized object where you are not physically in the room and don't have a 360 view and can use your judgment that only humans have. This is a big deal. This is opening up a Pandora's box that could change our society in a significant way.
We bring you images and videos of what's out there. But one thing that you may not have come across is what space actually sounds like.
Okay, so this was first unveiled in May. A repost is now going viral.
For centuries, there's been a misconception that there is no sound in space until now.
Turns out that's because most of space is a vacuum. But over the weekend, NASA released
Unveiled audio of a galaxy cluster with so much gas in it, they picked up actual sound from a black hole.
Fair warning, the sound is a little eerie. And with that, I think I am ready to head back to Earth.
Ooh, otherworldly. NASA shared this 34-second clip.
All right, that's pretty cool, but it's also kind of eerie.
Yeah. What is the significance of it?
Well, it means that black holes are no longer science fiction, that we can actually see these things in outer space, measure them. It's an object so dense that even light itself cannot escape. So how can sound escape when even light itself cannot escape? What you're actually listening to is vibrations created by the black hole rippling through the gas cloud. These vibrations are then picked up on the planet Earth, massaged by a computer, amplified by 57 octaves, boosting it so that we can hear it with the ear. If you want to, quote, see a black hole tonight, go outside, look in the direction of Sagittarius. That's the center of the galaxy. In Sagittarius, there is a black hole, weighs 2 to 4 million times the mass of our sun, and we on the Earth are actually moving around that black hole. And you can see it tonight in the constellation of Sagittarius. So this is not just science fiction anymore. We can actually see these things. We can actually, quote, hear these things if you boost the signal, of course.
That's a little spooky, though, don't you think?
Well, yeah, this sounds horrible, but
very fascinating.
The last thing before we go tonight, fifth rock from the sun. Earth got you down? Me too. Well, let's venture into the cosmos for a breather.
And now to some new pictures that have been released by NASA showing our largest planetary neighbor, Jupiter, in unprecedented detail.
Okay, so NASA is releasing new images of Jupiter.
Yeah, researchers found more than they expected. Take a look. So the images show everything from auroras around Jupiter's poles to a clear view of that great red spot. That's a storm big enough to swallow the Earth. So
glowing light shows or auroras dancing at the poles, faint rings and two of the planet's many moons standing out against a backdrop of glittering galaxies.
It's fair to say some of these images have pretty much knocked the socks off some of the scientists. They're all saying James Webb is performing even better than expected. It's just unprecedented, the level of detail and the clarity of these images.
Hubble's more powerful successor, the James Webb, was launched into orbit in December. And since the summer, it's been sending back extraordinary images of the universe. Over the years to come, the telescope will be peering ever further back in time.
This is incredible. Think about that.
You have
Plus,
me excited.
We're going back to creation itself. The Webb is a time machine. We're talking about pictures of the earliest galaxies and stars formed almost 200 million years after the Big Bang itself. So we're talking about going back to creation, back to when the universe was a baby.
You know, the images that you see are great, but the amount of detail that's in these images astounded us. When we saw what it did, in only 12 hours, we knew in our hearts that whatever's out there, we're going to see it. So when you think about it, it's possibly, addressing two of the most fundamental questions in astronomy. How did it all begin? And are we alone?
Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Give me a Yahoo if I can be heard. Family, bless up, bless up, bless up. Oh, we is going down in the earth and in the heavens. Going down in the earth and in the heavens. The play continues. The play continues, man. Good night. Give me a Yahoo if I can be heard. Good to see y'all in the chat. Get the B scene. I see y'all in the building. Let me climb back up this ladder. Something say Facebook user. Number 1, shalom to you. Yahweh, Yahweh. Blessings, my beloved brother Yahweh. Bless up, Flow Rider. Keon Cooper, shalom, blessings. The elder Nakamiya Mabarak in the building. Hey, the elder be making some crazy Facebook posts. I'm with you though, elder. I'm with you. Get on these millie mouth Negroes' nerves. They be all right. BC in the building. Shalom. I knew it the whole time at Malaki since a child. What you know? Share that with us. Some of us have been more sensitive to the unseen realm than others. I love to hear people, experiences and all that. My brother from Maryland, Yosef the Nazarene, abundant blessings to you, your family. You already know. That's a real one right there. Salute the real ones. Blessings to you and your family. Bless up. Who else we got up in here? Neat Banks. Finally caught you. Yeah. You did. I'm just staying in motion. Handling business. You did. Whenever I go quick, y'all don't hear from me, just know I'm loading up. That's all. I'm just loading up. You did. Handling business. Strategic, baby. But yeah, I'm in the building. It's good to be seen. Bless up. Angelic is in the building. All praise to the Most High Creator. That's right. Bless up. Sister Tikva in the building. Blessings, my beloved sister. Abundant blessings. Bruh Caleb, Chirac in the building. Salute to the elder, bruh Caleb. Abundant blessings to you and your family. My brother Yehuda Israel. May the Creator have the angels of comfort around you and your family, YAH'KI. You dig? Just know that we cast all our cares on the lap of the Creator and, feel me, go forth in certainty. You dig? But condolences to the family. May your family be comforted. May your brother's memory be blessed. May he rise in the grades. And may y'all embrace again, brethren. Bless up. My brethren right here. Prince Yehuda Levi, we loyal. What's up with this Essene brother right here, man? What's good, Hebrew? Abundant blessings, all right? Good to see y'all. Jason Buckley in the building. Bless up. Good to see y'all. Jalan, okay. Got Jalan in the building. Blessings to you, Jalan. What's the word out? Global purpose. Okay. I see y'all in the building. We gonna work, though. All right, we gonna work. Blessings, family. Blessings. Good to be seen. Let's go ahead and work. Y'all see the title. The Vanity and Humiliation of a False God, Part 6. We've been showing the flip side of things. We've been showing the fall of the gods who are false, who rebel and go against the Most High's directives, his command, his setup. And we can learn a lot from that. You understand? When self rises up in you, or the carnal mindset, or the flesh mindset, all the low vibration, killing, murder, sowing discord, gossip, You know the whole nine. You know what I mean? You know what the works of the flesh are. You know what they are. Those things start rising up. It's important for us to go ahead and conquer all that and handle our business. So the false gods, we can always learn from their failures. You dig? Because when we see these traits rising up in us, we can be like, oh, nah, I ain't finna let that ride. You feel me? I ain't finna let that ride. So we showing how the false gods turn away from what the creator has going on, right? They set up their own kingdoms. Their kingdoms eventually fall. They get cast into torment. They get jumped by their servants, stripped of their jewels and jumped. Thrown, stripped. You know what I mean? All of it. And then they get cast into torments and then put in the knots. Millions and billions of souls just infused into this knot. Torment, the most obnoxious and foul smelling gases too. You know, them farts is nuclear, you dig? So all that happened, and then they eventually get restored. Chaotic spirit get restored, and then they receive their judgment, right? In the case of the cat who caused the titles of Lord God to be worshipped in the earth, YAH'KI, as long as Lord and God is worshipped in the earth, he has to labor and work against that. He ain't going nowhere. He's bound to the lower heavens of the earth, you understand, until the worship of a Lord and a God is put out the earth. Lord and God are titles of angels. They are titles of spirits of the dead who were once living on either this earth or a physical earth, who have died, crossed over, and rose to the rank of a Lord, Lord God of God. These are one-time men or women. When you get the S at the end of it, goddess, lordess, you know what I mean? Chieftainess, right? They were one-time living individuals who were birthed into the spiritual realm, crossed over, and advanced. Now, with that, you have those who are still entertaining what we call the flesh or the mind of the flesh. And they end up thinking that the train is moving too slow. I can do this faster. I can do this better. So they set up their own heavenly kingdoms. Some with good intentions, but it always falls because it got to do with self. You feel me? So we've been going over the whole psyche of the false gods. You dig? And we can learn from that. You dig? When pride start rising up, you know, squash that, Jack. Quick, hurry up. Put a rush order on it. What you waiting for? You know, when that anger and murder rise up in you, already know you got to put that out, Jack. What you waiting on? See, now you know, now you're conscious or aware of certain proceedings and how things maneuver and move in the spiritual realm. So once you understand, regardless if you believe it or not, once you're aware of it, you can't unring the bell. You naturally gonna view things different and move different after that. You understand? Because you know you put it this way, you know the outcome. You understand? Like if I put somebody's blood in the mud or in the streets, you dig? I'm responsible for that. And you know the outcome spiritually speaking. You see what I'm saying? So we've been going over the false gods, how they rebel, how they eventually get restored, and then their own judgment. Like with the boy I knew who came up with the 7-day creation story and caused Lord God to be worshiping earth with him. Man, this cat hurt. You dig? And the crazy part about it was he wasn't even like thorough in his understanding. It wasn't even like he was like, dang, that was deep. It wasn't like they were sitting there like this, like, dang. Like they wasn't doing none of that. They was like, hey, you know, you got holes in your story, Jack. You know that, right? Like what we supposed to tell. You feel me? So just to see how at one point it's all good, and if you lose focus, you can fall off and be just like one of these fallen gods. You dig? Redemption is still possible. Redemption is still there, but there's a great redemptive work to do. You understand? For the killers, I'm talking about. Look, even when we dealing with the kings and queens and rulers of nations and governments who have ordered warfare, who are beating prisoners and putting people into bondage and hanging and whipping. Man, do you know what really awaits? Yeah. So that warfare, you know what I mean? All those who partake in warfare, you dig, have the lowest grade in the eyes of the Creator. Just to let y'all know that. You understand? Like the Creator is not ordering or sanctioning warfare in no way, shape, form, or fashion. And I know that's hard for a lot of people to swallow, but that's the truth. You dig? Nah, them false deities and gods. You see what I'm saying? And you got to learn to distinguish that. You got to learn to distinguish that. So let's get into some of this. All right? Let's get into some of this. Good to see y'all in the building. Hey, shout out to the haters, jaw jackers, and naysayers, too. We love y'all, too. Believe that, know that. Bless up. Bless up. All right, let's go ahead and grab this right here. We in the book of Lika. The book of Lika. Let me jump on back. We're going to chapter 18. All right. Some of this stuff sound interesting to you. Go ahead and tap on in. The book ain't gonna bite you. You know what I mean? I think we should be mature enough in our understanding or in our spiritual progression to be able to examine whatever. And if it don't sit well with you, discard it. But if it does, then you know what I mean? Hey, you just hit gold, Jack. Keep digging. All right, let me pull this up, make sure. Then we're going to go ahead and work. All right, I advise y'all, if this is the first time y'all hearing of this type of lesson, go back to part 1 of this. You know what I mean? We gradually went on up. We started with the god, the false god, Lasitusk, Ahura. Lasitusk. He cats take on the craziest names too, man. It's crazy. All right, bang, bang, bang. How we looking in the chat? We good. All right, we can be heard. All right, let's work. The book of Lika, chapter 18 and 1. After the judgment of YHWH'S and Chisoda. So that's the Lord God. All right, and Anubai. All right. So after the judgment of YHWH'S and Chisoda at Theovrakistan, Ahura asked Lika for assistance to remove the remainder of Varapashana. Varapashana is Ahura's kingdom, heavenly kingdom. All right. He wants to remove the remainder of his kingdom to HICKMAN. So they want to move this heavenly continent, per se. You know what I mean? Closer to this other heavenly region. Look at this. Which Lika granted, allotting 10 million of his Etherian host. The Etherian heavens are the emancipated, the higher heavens. You hear Yahshua say, in my Father's house are many mansions. That's what he's talking about. The endless and countless and infinite worlds of creative. It's without end. Anyway, allotting 10 million of his Etherian hosts to accomplish it. With these, Ahura, YHWH'S, and Chisoda accomplished the removal. The crazy part about this, y'all, all 3 of these gods had at one point or another rebelled against the Creator and had been in hell, tortured. You understand? And then eventually got delivered and had to do a work. You know what I mean? A redemptive work or perform their judgment. All right. In the case of YHWH'S, this nigga was cast in hell twice, man. Good night. Hold on. This cat had been in hell twice. When he got about that deal this last time, he whoa out. He's in that deal 400 years, though. That last time around. Look at this. Verse 2. Not many days after this, Suga was delivered from the hells of Aparal. Now, Suga is the false god over the Indian philosophies. We're dealing with East India, the red dots, the Hindus and all that, the idolatry with that. I'm not talking about those that attuned or aligned themselves with Creator and was against the idolatry and, you know what I mean, and was with treating their neighbors themselves and inspired to great works and purity. But I ain't talking about those who, you know, were part of the eternal brotherhood. I'm talking about the spiritual religious systems of India. There was a false god named Suga that was responsible for that. All right. He had been delivered. He was at one point down with your boy YHWH'S at one point too, but then broke away. And then made another alliance and then broke away from that as well. So you're seeing all the different gods in these localities are starting to fall, all right, and cast into hell. And really, the torment or the hell is of your own building. See what I'm saying? Like see, what needs to be understood by Creator is this: He's not getting off your chestnuts roasting on an open fire. He ain't happy at none of that. You know what I mean? He ain't vindictive like that. You whatever hell or whatever punishment or whatever judgment you find yourself in is of your own doing. See what I'm saying? And then look, you got brothers and sisters who have so much compassion for you, even though you went off like, hey, look, Pops, let me go get him. You dig? And Creator may go ahead and say, all right, yeah, or nah, let him sweat a little taste. But eventually you get delivered. I found that very interesting. Because what's the whole point of a punishment? The whole point of any type of punishment or discipline is for you to learn from it and get better. But how you gonna do that if your chestnuts roasting on an open fire forever? False gods nipping at your nose. And look, if you ain't careful around this time of year, you be, you know, it's all subliminal, man. You be singing the Christmas carols and all that. You gotta watch that. You dig? But notice this right here. Not many days after this sucker was delivered from the hills of Oprah, and because Ahura had been previously informed as to the time, he accordingly had gone to Oprah to be ready to receive succor and help restore him if required. So, and remind you, before any of these brothers were cast into the torments of their own building, Ahura came and hollered at him like a real friend should. Any real brother, real sibling, or real partner is going to tell you when you going off. He going to tell you when you stink. Hey, look, slow down. What is you doing? We done got so soft these days, we can't even hear that. We act like the world is over. Somebody tell you, look, pump your brakes. What is you doing? So the beautiful thing about this, Ahura had already hollered at sucker and told him to say, look, you already know the route, Jack. You know how this ends. You know what I mean? Like, come on back now, man. Wouldn't do it. Wouldn't do it. So it's wild because Ahura warned all of them from Anu-Hasaj on down to Sudgut, Osiris. He warned all of them. Hey, look, pump your brakes. This ain't what you want. You dig? They still went forward. That pride, man. That pride. Look at this. Succor on his delivery. Look at this. Verse 3. Book of Leviticus, chapter 18 and 3. Succor on his delivery from the knot where there had been 30 million bound. Y'all heard this? 30 million bound in a knot. Good night. Was bereft of reason, but not gentle like Anu-Hasaj, but first battling right and left. A very mad maniac that neither saw nor heard, but raved and cursed with all his strength, choked up with madness. You see the condition he was in, boy? Woof. For all the curses of his broken down kingdom recoiled upon himself. If you ever find it, you know what recoil is. You know what a recoil is. But in other words, everything just blew up in his face. His whole plan fell, his whole kingdom fell upon him. For all the curses of his broken down kingdom recoiled upon himself. The projective curses of his billions of slaves were piercing his soul from every quarter. You see what happened to Slave Master? You see what happened to Slave Master? Slave Master ain't got away with nothing, Jack. Who you wound in this life, you got to restore that. The slaves and got them some get back. Yeah. Yeah. Look at this. Look at this right here. Verse 4. Verse 4. But they held him firmly and carried him into the ship, which sailed for how used to, where he was landed in the same condition. Frantic. He just got delivered out of chaos. Ahura was with him, and Ahura arranged for a circle of deliverance to assemble and labor in the restoration. That's what they would do. I found that interesting too. Right? And these are angels, right? To restore the spirit of either a newborn spirit, a spirit that was just murdered, born in chaos, a spirit that's been aborted, or even a spirit that's just been delivered out of torment. They form what's called a sacred circle, right? And they all focus on the outcome to be righteous and restored. And they cry out to the Creator on your behalf. So you to balance your spirit back out. I said, dang, that's tight. Look at this. Ahura was with him, and Ahura arranged for a circle of deliverance to assemble and labor in the restoration. And it required 30 days and nights. 30 days and nights, they got to sit on one accord, focused and restoring the spirit of this false God who just got delivered out of torment that he built for himself. And it required 30 days and nights to bring him around so he could even see and hear. Couldn't even see, couldn't hear. But as for his judgment, it was yet 100 days more before it manifested. And this is upon deliverance. Nobody burns forever, Jack. You learn what it is and correct it. They tell you that in the Bible, your own wickedness will correct you. That's so true. Your own wickedness will correct you. See, now you're more responsible for what it is, for your spiritual progression. You are. Look at this. So Ahura could not wait any longer with him, but returned to the hills where Tien was bound. That's the false god that's responsible for the Chinese spiritual systems and philosophies. The Akal Lugans, for Tien was to be delivered. But again, Ahura was disappointed. For Tien was neither frightened nor wild nor mad, but limpid, helpless as water, with no more knowledge than a vessel of water. His energies had all been exhausted. And in a dead swoon, he lay in the heart of the knot. Him they also carried to YAH'KI, and who provided for his restoration. Tien was basically dead. You know what I mean? That's how much torment wore him out. He just was there, infused in a knot. And look, you can avoid this. You can avoid this. And you can start righting your wrongs now. That's why I love the practicability or the practical ways you can apply this. You know what I mean? You can look at this and say, you know what, let me start righting my wrongs now. So it's practical. I don't know if practicability is a word or not, but you know what I'm saying. It's practical. You can actually put this into practice. Say, okay, well, whoever I'm going to start now. I ain't going to wait till I die to start righting my wrongs. You know what I mean? I ain't going to do that. Look at this. Verse 6. But before Tien awoke from his stupor, Ahura departed for Osiris. We heard of Osiris. You know who he is, don't we? Osiris the false. But before Tien awoke from his stupor, Ahura departed for Osiris, who was bound in the hells of Prayogatha. Osiris had been in hell now for more than 100 years, and in the knot for 50 years. I remind you, Ahura had talked to all of them. This ain't what you want. When the false Osiris was delivered, he was deranged for preaching Yahweh. Look at that. Calling everybody Yahweh and everything Yahweh. Him they also carried to YAH'KI and provided restoration for him. And Ahura went there also to assist with all his wisdom and strength. Thus were delivered all the self-gods. Now remember, self is synonymous for Satan. Right? When that lower vibrational self, the carnal mind, the murder, the gossip, the raping, the lusting, the bondage, the carnal mind, the worry and the fear, the doubt, and the carnal mind. When that rises up, that's Satan rising in you. You got to get that under control. All right? That has to be overpowered by the goodness that you know about the Creator, of your knowledge of Creator and faith. More than just a belief, an exact and a for sure knowing. Thus were delivered all the self-gods who had rebelled against Jehovah, Yahweh, and established the great confederacy, of which not one vestige was now left. All y'all little makeshift kingdoms failed. And look, and this also, if you really paying attention to what's being said, you know what else you get out of this, what we just read? Did we not just read about the false god who's responsible for the Indian philosophies and the Chinese philosophies and what we call the false spiritual systems of Kepha? Did we or did we not? So that means that this understanding is not just revealing the false deities and gods in the Bible, also dealing with the Chinese or the spiritual false systems of Japheth and those of India and Persia and those of Africa. All the false gods across the board are getting exposed. So it ain't just a this against a Bible or this against a Quran. All the gods are getting hit. You dig? All the gods are getting hit. Because the God is not to be worshipped anyway. Yeah, a God is nothing more than what you will become in time to come, or a goddess. And that's simply, look, that's a title bestowed upon you by the Creator, and your job is to assist your little brothers and sisters in resurrection, rising up. So like the angels inspire you now, you'll be inspiring mortals in time to come. All right, but look, not one vestige is left of their kingdoms. Look at this. It don't even benefit to go against the Creator, the Most High. It don't. But of all the angels delivered out of the hells and knots, not 1 in 10 was of sound judgment, while more than half of them were only drudges at best. Y'all heard this? Y'all heard this? Making sure we all good. All right, we all good. Huh? But of all the angels delivered out of the hells and knots, not 1 in 10 was of sound judgment. Not 1 out of 10. Yeah, man, that you ain't trying to deal with that. But look, how relieving is it to know it ain't a forever thing? The Creator's so merciful, He allow you to get yourself together. Look at this. While more than half of them were only drudges at best, thus was founded the new kingdom of YAH'S, as yet in the charge of the Etherians, who were committed to HonorandHumilitySTL and his one-time confederates for their deliverance. So HonorandHumilitySTL receives a kingdom again. And the same gods that allied themselves with him to rebel against the Creator have to be up under his command to restore and destroy the doctrines that they put into this earth. That's right. HonorandHumilitySTL and every god and deity that was down with him at this very moment are laboring in spirit to restore, not to restore, destroy the spiritual systems that they birthed. Every last one of them. Osiris on down. Osiris in spirit working against that bull that these Negroes, Jabari and all them down with. The God that they venerated in spirit working against it. Because that's his judgment. Until it's eradicated, he can't go nowhere. He bound to the lower heavens of the earth. In other words, the atmosphere. Look at this. Thus was founded the new kingdom of YAH'S, as yet in the charge of the Etherians, who were committed to HonorandHumilitySTL and his one-time confederates for their deliverance. It came to pass in the course of time. It came to pass in the course of time that Sudgutian and Osiris, so Persia or India, Japheth, China, and Osiris, Northeast Africa, were restored to judgment. And in this matter, HonorandHumilitySTL, Jehovah, and Chisoda were constant workers. All the false gods had to help to restore the other ones. And when they were all restored, they in turn set about to restore others, to which labor they were committed to the close of dawn. Restore those in spirit who were in chaos. Look at this. Osiris, Ten, and Suga desired to go before Lika to be a judge. They like, well, it's time to be adjudicated and sentenced. And they all, and see, you would think that the chestnuts roasting on an open fire is the eternal sentence. Look how merciful the Creator is, man. Now that makes sense. You dig? Because if most of y'all parents or even grandparents, who punishes forever? Who? Yeah, you discipline your children and all that. That ain't forever, though. You ain't angry at them forever. You ain't angry at your spouse forever. You ain't angry at your siblings forever. You know what I mean? But you're still responsible for what you spill. That makes sense. That makes sense. Osiris, Ten, and Suga desire to go before Lika to be a judge and sentence, and they all sentence themselves. You gonna judge yourself, Jack? What you mean? Didn't the God when HonorandHumilitySTL went before true God to be judged? He said, "Look, judge yourself." What you offended for? Bible tell you to judge yourself too, right? If we judge ourselves, we wouldn't be judged. He said, judge yourself. And they all sentenced themselves, which was granted to them on this occasion, Osiris said. Osiris said, look at this. Look at Osiris' confession. And we're gonna pull up the spandex God in a minute. Osiris. All right, your lessons are near at hand, O Jehovah, Yahweh. But who will learn them? Mortals go insane because they have not learned to throw their curse upon you, to throw government upon you, O Jehovah. Is this not wisdom? To cast riches and kingdoms into your lap, to own nothing, to have nothing. Is this not the sum of the highest happiness? You see why the apostles in them were living all together. All things were in common. You wasn't running around here talking about some me, like a child, like my little jokes. Me and I, no. Now look at what Osiris is saying. He's judging or sentencing himself. He's saying, dang, if we only knew. You understand? Now, all glory and honor belongs to the Creator. What you mean? Look at it. Whoever does this will battle against no man for anything in heaven or earth. If you understand it all belongs to the Creator, what are you battling over? But he who does otherwise will sooner or later descend into hell. Do you hear this? For what is hell but the opposite of bliss? What is battling against others but sowing the seed of anarchy in one's own soul? To battle against others is to gain the lower by sacrificing the higher, of which latter you or Jehovah are the summit. This is what the false God's saying at his own adjudication, his own sentencing and judgment. Look at this. He like, look, if you for self, you're going to descend to hell. You're going to be in torment, Jack. Look at this. To go against you, oh Father. This man, let me pull Osiris up right now. Hold on. Y'all need to look at the spandex God. Let's look at the spandex God. He had on leggings. Hold on. We'll come back here. Y'all forget your brother for a second. Let's pull up the spandex God real quick. Osiris had on leggings. We'll come back. I want y'all to see what's going on here. All right. But notice his repentance. You feel me? Notice that. We all can learn from that. Get yourself together. And eventually you gotta clean up what you spilled. I know you think you can just, slide away and everything gonna be okay because you said sorry. It don't work like that, boo-boo. What you think this is? All right, let me pull this up so y'all can see what's going on. Pull up the spandex God, Osiris in leggings. Let's pull this up. Come on. Should be getting jammed up. All right, I'm gonna let it fetch. There we go, bang. That's work. Now let me pull this up so y'all can see this. The God with leggings on. All right, bang. Entire screen. Let's look at your boy real quick. Man, I thought it came up. What you doing, man? Oh, there it is over there. I knew I wasn't tripping. I'm trying to pull up too much. Wow. All right, this is the judgment hall of my art right here. Okay. Every so-called Kemetic spiritual priest, whatever. This your boy all the way over to the far right. This Osiris right here. There he is right there. There he is. That's Osiris or Asar, for those that's caught up in the language. All right. There he is right there. All right. He got on leggings. All right. That cone hat right there is the same hat that you'll find on Ball or L. Some say it's Ba, some say it's El, but that's the judgment hall of Ma'at right there. All right, and that's Osiris sitting on the throne. Right, either receiving the newly spirit of the dead to the fields of, forgot what the hell it is, Russia, some crazy madness. All right. All right, right here. This is, what's your boy name? Horus, the son of Osiris. All right. This is the newly crossed over in spirit. All right. The eagle head with the man body is Tahuti, recording if your heart right here is lighter than a feather. If it's not lighter than a feather, this is a new body, keeper of the scales. Just like I say in a wasp, he's crazy. And if your heart is heavier than a feather, you get ate up by the Amek. This guy right, the crocodile head dog right here. All right. That's the Egyptian system when it comes to the afterlife and all that, man. But that if you pass the test, if your heart is lighter than a feather, you get admitted to this guy's kingdom right here. Osiris. To his kingdom right there, Osiris. The god in spandex. So notice what he's saying though. Osiris been delivered and he's speaking. You understand? He's speaking like he done learned his lesson. And that's the whole point of it all. All right, look at this. To go against you, O Father, is to go against one's fellows. To go against one's fellows is to go against you. And who can go against you without sooner or later evolve in his own fall? To mortals you have given kings and queens and shown them that sooner or later their kingdoms will fall to pieces. And yet lords and gods seeing these things will not believe. Everyone in his own conceit imagines his particular kingdom will be governed more wisely than all his predecessors. And yet he is also false. Look at Osiris giving it up. Y'all still running around here worshiping Osiris today, or Asar. Now I will turn to find you, O Jehovah, Yahweh, and the search shall be everlasting. Kingdoms are nothing to me. All possessions except wisdom and love are but vanity and vexation. Y'all heard what the God saying? He learned his lesson. I know you are above all else, and yet you are that which is giving yourself all away, so that none can look upon your face. Truly you have hidden yourself away. To be like you is to hide away the self of oneself, and that which will remain will be your mouthpiece in your hand. Osiris had to give it up, right? Look at the false god giving reverence and praise to the creator. It shouldn't be a mealy mouth Negro offended at what we reading right here. This a false god that's been in hell, Jack. What you talking about? And had his spirit restored and had to come before another one of his brothers for judgment. And he said, judge yourself. He gave it up and got to speak. And then Sukkah, this is the false god that's responsible for the Indian philosophies and the Persian philosophy. Sukkah spoke to Jehovah saying, why was I puffed up? Seeing that I did not even create my own self. Good night. Nor did I have anything in earth or heaven to use or to work with, except substance already made. Yes, I leaped into your garden which you had planted. He's like, what look at me. The nerve of me to get puffed up. I didn't even create my own self. You be hearing mealy mouth Negroes. I woke myself up. Like, boy, if you don't go sit down somewhere. See, when that pride start creeping in, you can stomp it out now. You know that's false God. That it reeks of false God verbiage. That's false God talk right there. That's that fallen mouth. You gotta go. Roddy Rod. Yep, it's a wasp. YAH'KI. Then Sukkah spoke to Jehovah saying, why was I puffed up? Seeing that I did not even create my own self, nor did I have anything in earth or heaven to use or to work with, except substance already made. Yeah, Jack, whatever you claim you own is made out, at its bare minimum, is made out of the very elements that the Creator made. Look at this. Yes, I leaped into your garden which you had planted. Verse 19. Look at this. Look what the false God is saying. I raised up my voice against you, talking to the Creator, because you were too holy for my gross senses to perceive. False God giving it up like, man, Creator is too holy for my gross senses to perceive. I condemned you. I wanted you gross so that I could look upon you, so that I could walk around you and behold your stature. I saw that all men were like me in this. Yeah, if a Negro could, he'll weigh the Creator on a scale and chop him up into quarters. He still wouldn't believe. What you talking about? Therefore, I made a figurehead of myself. Here it is. It's where all these idols and images come from, dealing with India. India is today still known for a plethora of idols. There's idolatry all over the lands of India and in that region. This is the false God that was responsible for it. Therefore, I made a figurehead of myself. I said to your children, behold me. And at first they were pleased because they imagined they had found a Creator they could measure. Huh? You got to ask yourself this, is the Creator, can the Creator be measured? I'm going to lock that one. I like that. I'm going to start asking Millie Mouth Negroes there, can you measure the Creator? Okay. But your eye was upon me. Your hand pointed the way in the manner of my iniquity. And they searched me out and found I was only a man, like they themselves, huh? Yeah. So when mortal men realize God is him, you're not the Creator. You dig? But you a son or a daughter of the Creator, absolutely. Who could one day hold the title of God or goddess? You'll never be worshipped unless you get on your false God swagger. But you'll never be worshipped. You're only here to help resurrect and inspire those, you understand, who are beneath you. I don't even like saying beneath you, but mortals. Those who are still experiencing a physical, corporeal life, you'll be there to inspire them like the angels inspire you now. You see that? Look at this. But your eye was upon me. Your hand pointed the way in the manner of my iniquity. And they searched me out and found I was only a man like they themselves, and so they condemned me. Look at this. Look at this. The fool acknowledges no person unless he can grapple with him. You gotta be able to wrestle with them to acknowledge them up and find the arms and their length and the feet and their standing place. How vain I was in this, old Jehovah, Yahweh. Look at this. He who profess your person I denounce as a fool, because I did not see your completeness. You allowed me to pursue my vanity. Because I had risen above acknowledging your person, I was forced to make man the all highest. Not the Creator, now man got to be the all highest or the Creator. Because each God or an angel was a one-time man. I was forced to make man the all highest, and this drove me to make myself the all highest man. But you did not come against me to beat me from my iniquity. You see what the false God is saying? Creator ain't even come check me on that. Nah, Jack, that's your heart desire, right? So you got to swallow all that. You got to deal with all that. But gave me full play to do my utmost. He said, Creator, allow me. You want to be evil? Go ahead. That's on you. You do realize you at one point or another, you're going to have to clean that up or you're stuck. Look at this. On all sides, you have encompassed your creation with liberty. Yeah, you got freedom. Yeah, salute, Roddy Rod, no doubt. No doubt, King. On all sides, you have encompassed your creation with liberty. Even your enemy, you have not restrained. So now we can take that off the table. Why God just let the enemy, he ain't restraining nobody. Do what you do. You're going to build your own hell. In the end, you're going to be crying out to get delivered. In the end, you're going to get delivered, restored, and guess what? Sentenced. And what? Sent to work. Get to work. Even your enemy you have not restrained. He stands in public saying, Yahweh, I deny you. If you are mighty than I, strike me down. So we can kill all the, I put that on God talk. Means nothing. He'll allow you to say all that. Behold, I deny you and your person, you void nothingness. Wow. You fool creator with your half-created world. Wow. This is not me saying this. I don't even want to read this with no type of enthusiasm. Look at this. You who have created sin and created misery, you father of evil. Oh, you. Okay, I don't want to say nothing like that. Look at this, verse 24. Yes, even to him you have given free speech. Really? And he builds up his own soul in his own way. And for a season, he is the delight of the drunk and the drudge. Yes, they fasten upon him. And he gains a multitude of evil ones, divided one against another. But the seed of his curses take root in them. And he becomes encompassed with foulness and bondage. Find harmony in you, O Yahweh, Jehovah, to measure the goodness of you, to rejoice in one's joys, to treasure your best gifts, to laud your love, to love you because you have given me power to love and things to love, to rejoice in your fruits and flowers and all perfected things, to harp forever upon your glories and the magnitude of your creation, to sing praises to you for harmony wherever found, to love to comprehend all good things, to find the good that is in all men and women, to rejoice in delights, to teach others to rejoice, and to search after all perfected beauties and goodness and righteousness and love. These shall be my service to you, my everlasting Father. Look at what the false God is saying. Huh? Look at this. To not seek to find imperfections, to not seek to find disharmonies, to not seek to find evil, to not seek to find ugliness, to not seek to find evil in others, nor their darkness, nor shortcomings. Look at this. To not seek to prove imperfections upon you, O Yahweh, to find no fault with you, to not complain against you, to not complain for trials, nor for hardships, nor for the evil others inflict me with. To not quibble because I cannot comprehend your vastness, to not quibble for myself, to not speak evilly against you. You have created, O Jehovah, make me strong and wise forever. 10 spoke to Jehovah, saying, oh, all these gods, Osiris over Africa, or Asar, Sudga over India. To this day, India is littered with gods and idols. And 10 dealing with the Chinese or the Japhetic, you know what I mean? Gods, China, Japan, Korea, all that up in there. You dig? Now here come 10. He got a rap. And notice, y'all, all of them are giving it up to the creator, Yahweh or Jehovah or Yahweh, whatever, however you pronouncing. I ain't even here to give you that. I don't like, that's your own personal preference. One thing we cannot duck is the fact that the false gods who broke away from the creator's program and kingdom, set up their own kingdoms, all failed, all were involved in torments or hells of their own building, all were restored, and all were given or sentenced by their own mouths. And they speaking about the greatness and goodness of the creator. And notice even the false God is saying, I'm not to even speak on nobody else's shortcomings. We got to train ourselves for that because we love to run our mouths. We love to flap these yaps about what somebody else got going on that's wrong. But to get to where even they at, you got to shut all that down. You got to shut down that Miss Bonita Israelite vibration. I ain't the one to gossip. You ain't heard it from me. You got to shut that down. Because those are the higher resurrections are trained not to even speak about your shortcomings, only to speak about the good you're doing. We got to train ourselves in that. We love to flap these yaps about what somebody else doing wrong. Now look at what 10 saying. 10 spoke to Jehovah saying, where is the limit of experience, O Jehovah? And how short have I not been before you, my Father? Behold, I had learned all philosophies. I have been taught for a long season in the right way, but I rebelled against you, my creator. Wow. Let us all internalize that. Because at some point in our life, we all have rebelled against our maker. Either in belief or action. See that? That's what I'm saying. Regardless if you believe what we read or not, you still can take jewels from it and learn from it. That's it. And nobody forcing you to believe nothing, but you can learn from this type of experience. No different than you watch something on Netflix or Amazon Prime. You'll watch a whole movie, a whole TV series to learn something or to figure something out or even just to be entertained. Stop it. You can learn from everywhere in the Creator's creation, including these stories. I found these stories fascinating. Look at this. I had been taught to not hoard up anything, to own nothing, to desire nothing but wisdom and love. You see, to get to them higher resurrections, you got to you got to sever all desire of earthly lust and earthly fellowships or brotherhoods, like fraternities and gangs and all that, and Masonic brotherhood. All they got to be severed or chopped. And all earthly desires got to be chopped, right? So to be the biggest landlord or to own a football team or to be the richest, best rapper, all that, look, it don't even matter if that's what type of time you on. None of that'll see the second resurrection. So it don't even matter. It don't even matter. You dig? That means we all progressing and working. We all getting there. All right. I have been taught to not hoard up anything. Huh? How about you saving? To own nothing, to desire nothing but wisdom and love. And your teachers, oh Jehovah, show me the evidence of thousands of great rulers. And every one of them had come to evil and destruction. Why then, O Father, was I not wise in the evidence before me? But I rose up against all this testimony and I fashioned a mighty kingdom. Yes, you allowed me to try my own way to the full. I went not by peace, but by war. I raised up standing armies and great warriors without limit. By force I established myself, but only as a tree that grows up and is cut down. But what was I in your great universe, O Yahweh? But what was I in your great universe, O Jehovah? We all need to ask ourselves that. Who am I in this great universe of the Creator? Look at this. What was my experience but the repetition of others who had been before me? What you doing new, Jack? We so much into ourselves, man. Look at this. Now I will be wise, most cautious in my wisdom, and slow to proceed. But how can I make my experience profitable to others? You have stood me far away. Whoever hears me will say, if I had tried it, I would have succeeded better. You prick each one to go in and try, but they all fail. Yes, they reiterate their failure. But of this experience, where is the profit to others? How can I ever reach them? Oh, Jehovah, oh, Yahweh, look at this. Verse 31, book of Leviticus, chapter 18, 31. What greater prophet do I have than a mortal who dwells on the earth? Have the angels not testified for thousands of years that the rich man was crippling his own soul? What bag you chasing, huh? Wow. Don't get me wrong. I know it's all about balance. Right? But nonetheless, that the rich man was crippling his own soul and that the king and queen were binding themselves with chains for the habitation of hell. Yeah, the whore queen that just died. Yeah. You know how many deaths is on her hand? You know how many deaths she ordered in her 70 plus years of ruling in Great Britain? Yeah. You know how many deaths is on your jacket if you call yourself or establish yourself or set yourself up as a king, a queen, a president? You know how many, a politician? You know how many deaths is on your hands? Good night. Look at this. But they will not heed. Everyone hopes he at least find a way to escape, to gain prestige over others, to be a leader, to have servants or slaves, to be idle, to live at ease, to have great possessions, to revel in luxuries? Are these not more powerful motivators than another's experience, greater in the eyes of the ignorant than all the wisdom of earth and heaven? That was a question. You have wisely shaped your creatures, O Father. You make great servants of us in a way we do not know of. Behold, I desire a mighty kingdom in heaven, and you gave one into my hand. Yes, I flattered myself with my success. I laughed at the gods who had been before my time. How things are changed now, O Jehovah. Book of Leviticus 18:33. You have made me a servant of servants. Yes, by my own hand I have bound myself. Have I not heard mortals say, oh, if only I had a kingdom to rule over. Oh, if only I had great riches. How good I would be. Look at this. And because you deny them for their own good, they complain against you. Who shall answer for the vanity of men and angels? They do not have patience with you, who created them alive and know what is best. One says, there is a great king. Why does he not do a great good? Or there is a rich man. Why does he not do a great good also? Oh, if only I were in their places. How shall I show them, O Father, that to be a king is to go away from doing good? Bag drop. What is we talking about here? What is we talking about here? This is a stage. And what you think is righteous ain't righteous. Huh? What's motivating you, what you think motivating you is righteous, quote unquote, for the benefit of mankind, ain't even righteous. Stop it. Stop it. How shall I show them, O Father, that to be a king is to go away from doing good? That to be a rich man is to deny goodness. Yes, by the very act of possession, he is testimony in the opposite way. For he who is good gives all. Look at this. Y'all heard this? For he who is good gives all. Even as you gave all and so made all things. And the greater the possessions, the greater the bondage. Bag drop. Bag drop. Here you go allowing others to make you feel lower than snail nuts because they got greater possessions than you. Huh? The greater the possessions, the greater the bondage. Why you got a problem with that? And we grew up hearing what? More money, more what? Yeah, problems. Yeah. More money, more problems. The greater the possessions, the greater the bondage. Who has so small a responsibility as he who has nothing? This is the sum of wisdom, O Jehovah. In all men and all angels, sooner or later, we'll acknowledge it. You're going to tap out eventually. You're going to tap out eventually because all that's about self. Accumulating wealth and hoarding up and all wealth and saving all this, that's about self. And all men and all angels, sooner or later, will acknowledge it. And this is a false God acknowledging it. Like, here we go. The nerve of us to talk about we want our own kingdom. Stop that. Stop that. Good night. Look at this. Better you have made it for the servant than for the master. No, Jack, to be the slave master, to be the leader, to be the king, to be the queen, to be the president, you can have all that, Jack. I'm cool. I'm none of y'all makeshift fancy leader. No. I'm cool. I'm cool on that one. I'm cool. Better you made it for the slave than for the master. Better for the poor than the rich. And these things will also come to their understanding in course of time. But how can I, O Father, make them know wisdom without experience? That's an excellent question. You got to go through and have your own experience. See that? You see that? My brother Darius in the building. Bless up. Bless up. What's the word? Let's work. Look at this. Oh, Father, make them know wisdom without experience. to accept the testimony of others' tortures in hell. Read that again. But how can our old Father make them know wisdom without experience? To accept the testimony of others' tortures in hell. Behold, you gave me great learning when I was of the earth, and when in Hadai, which are the lowest heavens. The hell or Hades is above your head. It's not underneath the earth. And when Hadai, great advantages, and when in Hadai, great advantages to attain to deep wisdom. But after all, I was caught in the snare of my own setting. Yo, dug your own grave, boy. How much then, O Father, must I expect of the multitude? Happy is he who has nothing and desires only wisdom and love. Facts. To cultivate such a garden, what a harvest will ripen out to him. When the three had thus spoken before the throne and before the high council, Ahura stood aside and spoke also. He said, about to go into chapter 19 of the book of Leka. If y'all getting some understanding, give me a 9 up in the chat. Bless up, bless up, bless up. And again, even if you don't believe what's being read, you can learn from the mistakes of even the fallen angels or the fallen gods. You dig? Let me know if y'all get some understanding. What's the word in the building? All right, good to see y'all in the building. Bless up, bless up, bless up. I see y'all in the building. Let's get into chapter 19. Chapter 19. Oh, if I can sing. And this is Ahura talking. Oh, if I could sing you a song of delight, you all highest, or find the words to make plain your marvelous ways. But you have limited me as a shadow of which you are the substance. Your causes are deep and a long times. My judgment, less than a breath of air. I resolve and reason and devise, but all is nothing before you. Today my soul is buoyed up with great rejoicing. You have sent me my loves. He like, I got my partners in them back. I would bind them with sweet words. Their wisdom I would feast upon forever. In your great mercy, Jehovah, you have shown me a world of delight. How can I repay you or make your countless millions understand the way of rejoicing? Oh, if I could show them the secret way of bliss or turn them in the direction of the all-highest, or if only they could be the within, to know the delight of that which proceeds outward. Oh, if I could make them understand to look upward instead of downward, to look inward instead of outward. Y'all hear that? To look inward instead of outward. And how you follow up your way with children, your truants that strive to go away from you. They wander off and you get a slack of the leading line to them. They go as if around a circle and come to the place of beginning at last. Oh, if I could prevail upon them at the beginning. Or if I could save them the first journey of the circle. Oh, if only they would go slowly and with you always, Yahweh. But you enrich them with your bounty as fields. They travel far and are footsore and weary. And the two causes are like a new book of songs. Oh, that experience may never die. And your creations never cease to have adventurous sons and daughters. Oh, if only I could understand your greatness, or find in the darkness the light that glorifies your countenance. I drink deep of my own folly. My eyes wander about because of the darkness. I come upon your pathway and burst forth with the song of delight. Yes, I rejoice for the darkness I have passed through. Because of it, I am buoyant in my love for you, my creator. Ooh-wee. How can I make all your people sing songs to you, or teach them to never harp on the dark side of things? I have seen the tree of hell they planted in their own souls, and the way they cultivate it. They do not know what is meant by singing praises to you and of your growth in them. Why will they interpret me by words and not realize that I sing of the exuberance of the soul? Or if I could inspire them to talk good of all things, to harp forever on the beauties you have made, instead of the ills and the horrors around about, can they never understand what is to sow the seed of the tree of endless delight? Oh, if only I could call them to you, Yahweh, Jehovah, or that I could lift their aspiration up from the shadows of death. I will follow them into your two great gardens, which you have created. That which is green will they go and curse you, and that which is right, why I have found you full of love. Because I said, sing to him forever, pray to him with great rejoicing. They interpret me to mean words uttered like a parrot. Yes, they grumble forever. To find you, O Jehovah, to glorify the good that comes along. This is the salvation of the world. Of this my song shall never end. Without a shadow of darkness, you will tune my voice forever. I will sing and dance before you. The germ of happiness in my soul I would nurse as your holiest gift. For of all the trees that you have planted in the soul of men and angels, this is the most glorious. For it is the perfection of your voice, which sings in all your living creatures. When Ahura ended his song, then Leka spoke, for the voice of Jehovah was upon him. He said, many leaders I have created for the earth and her heavens, but not one have I created with power to make a leader of himself. Good night. My hand is upon those whom I choose. With wisdom and power, I raise them up from the beginning. Y'all hear this? So who the creator chooses, he raises them with wisdom and power. Ain't nothing you can do about that. Ain't nothing you can do about that, Jack. You know what I mean? Look at this right here. To a people on the earth, I give a king. To the inhabitants of my heavens, I give lords and gods. Because you have tried the fullness of self and raised up mighty realms in heaven, only to come to nothing before my hand. You are as a new power in these heavens. Look at this. Because you have tried the fullness of self and raised up mighty realms in heaven, only to come to nothing before my hand. You hustling backwards, going against the creator. You hustling backwards, Jack. You ain't getting nowhere. You are as the new power in these heavens. As by the name Jehovah, I have maintained the faithest. Salute to the faithest. As by the name Jehovah, I have maintained the faithest in earth and heaven. So shall you rule over my enemies in righteousness, love, and good works. By the names Lord and God, which they shall worship until the coming of the next dawn. Look at this. As by the name Jehovah, I have maintained the faithest in earth and heaven. So shall you rule over my enemies in righteousness, love, and good works. By the names Lord and God, which they shall worship until the coming of the next dawn. Look at this. But I will come in that day and deliver you and them. And there shall be no more Lord or God upon the earth or in its heavens. Do you hear this? You hear this? Do not grieve that you have great kingdoms and been overthrown and cast into torments. For you have been prepared in my works, so that through you I could reach those who are not of the flesh and blood of my faithest. Do not grieve that you have had great kingdoms and been overthrown and cast into torments. For you have been prepared in my works, so that through you I could reach those who are not of the flesh and blood of my faithest. So he's still gonna use the testimony of the false gods to reach those who aren't even down with him. Work it all out to do good, all in the creator's favor. Look at this. And to the extent that you have gone to the farthest limit of glory and of the darkness of hell, so will I give to you wisdom, love, and power accordingly, for to make ready for the Cosmine era this day. I want not a few, but billions in heaven and earth to inspire those who live in darkness. There it is. For to make ready for the Cosmine era. In today's time, I want not a few, but billions in heaven and earth. Stop it. To inspire those who live in darkness. There's billions doing this light work. This work of light of the creator. Billions in the heavens and in the earth. Oh, wait. It's an honor to be a part of it. Look at this. As I delivered you, so shall you deliver them. Because they will accurse themselves with war and will stand in armies for the sake of earthly glory to their rulers. You shall encompass them, surround them, break them up, and deliver them into my kingdoms, which are peace and love. False gods got to work against the very seeds they planted. It is. As you have been delivered out of hell, so shall you deliver the kings and queens of the earth out of their kingdoms, in which they will unknowingly bind themselves in condemnation before me. They shall be made to understand that whoever assumes a kingdom shall not rule it to his own glory without reaping the fruits of hell. Bag drop. Do you hear this? They shall be made to understand that whoever assumes a kingdom shall not rule it to his own glory without reaping the fruits of hell. When the king goes forth, he shall not be afraid. He will be cut down, nor shall his marshal stand around him to protect him. For my person shall shield him, and his people will shout with great joy when his steps draw near. To serve me is not in prayer only, or in rites and ceremonies, but in stretching forth the hand to do good to others with all of one's might. Do you hear this? This is what the Creator wants you to do. Not be a scumbag all your life. Right? For once in your life, let it not be a hustle. Let it not be an ulterior motive. Just be sincere in your goodness. What's wrong with that? With all your might. Because you have proved the force and violence only established for a day. Because you have proved that force and violence only establishes for a day and are not of me. So shall you make them understand that whoever uses force and violence or armies, listen up, America, or armies to sustain himself is not of me, but is my enemy and is on the way to destruction. Bag drop. What are we talking about here? You even got to check that within yourself. Do you have a blood thirst to kill, a bloodlust? Some do. The Russian hordes. Hold on, y'all. How do I hide people on here? Remove. Hide user on this channel. You said C-Love, is he blocked? You know what? I'm gonna after I finish this chapter, I'm gonna go to the studio settings and see. He shouldn't be. He shouldn't be. I know YouTube been tripping lately. Peace to the God. Selah Shalom. Shalom to my brother NehemiYAH. NehemiYAH. Hey, look what Matt saying. Oh man. Hey, but look, you know, they tell you in certain parts like the book of divinity, book of discipline and all that, how you reunite with your wife and all that. You know, man, the husband and wife will fake this and all that. And then even the ones who are not, how they allowed to see each other, but under God. And then there's time to grow into unity then, even after death. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, very interesting. But I like what this said, because you have proved that force and violence only establishes for a day and are not of me. So you shall make them understand that whoever uses force and violence or armies to sustain himself is not of me. You can talk all that God bless America crap all you want. It don't matter. But it's my enemy and is on the way to destruction. Whoever is a king or a general, listen up, General YAH'KI, General YAH'KI. Whoever is a king or a general or a captain, Captain YAH'KI, and in war, either offensive or defensive, professing to serve me by rites and ceremonies and praises, is a mocker of me and my kingdoms. Yes, a blasphemer in my sight. He provides the way of his own torments. Yeah, Jack, y'all do know bullets boomerang, right? You ain't doing them but killing yourself. They tell you that in these singing literature too, powerful. Right? He provides the way of his own torments. These are my creations, to answer force with force, violence with violence, mockery with mockery. As the seed is sown, so shall the harvest come to the sowers. That's cold, man. That's cold. That's cold. That's cold. Huh? These are my creations. Wow. I want to say, hold on. Whoever is a king or a general or captain and in war, either offensive or defensive, professing to serve me by rites and ceremonies and praises, is a mocker of me and my kingdom. That's a blasphemer in my sight. He provides the way of his own torments. Digging your own grave. These are my creations. To answer force with force, violence with violence, mockery with mockery. As the seed is sown, so shall the harvest come to the sowers. Nor shall evil, darkness, and misery cease on the earth till I have disbanded the dealers in death. You hear that? So you can talk all that. When will it get better? The dealers of death are still in the earth. It ain't so. Darkness and misery and evil ain't going nowhere, Jack. Nor shall evil, darkness, and misery cease on the earth till I, this is what the Creator is saying, till I have disbanded the dealers in death. By my own hand, I will liberate the nations of the earth. Their army shall go away like the winter's snow and sun of summer, to which end you shall be my workers with wisdom, love, and power. Oh, way backdrop. We just learned the Creator ain't behind the warfare. He ain't behind saints. He ain't even behind forcing you to do nothing. You come up with your own. But understand this, you're digging your own grave. Whatever you spill, you clean. All right? Whoever you wound, you got to heal. Y'all get some understanding so far? Give me an 8 up in the chat. Bless up. Let's jump on down. Let's get an understanding on the different grades and ranks of the angels. Like I say, man, a Waspy's a good read, man. It may not taste good to you, but you know what I mean? I find it very detailed when it comes to certain things. Very, very detailed. Like, okay, that makes sense. All right, we're getting some understanding. And again, y'all, it ain't even about, oh, you believe everything in that book. Look, you ain't bound to nothing. Be bound to nothing. All right, this is your experience. What you do is take pieces of the truth from wherever you get it from and apply it in today's time to effect righteous change today. If you can't do that, you're dealing with dead information. You know what I mean? So you ain't accountable. You ain't got to believe everything you read in nothing. Try everything. Question everything. When I say try, I mean test it. Test everything, man. Try the spirit by the spirit, whether they be what? Of God. So you ought to be trying and scrutinizing and proving it. Since when we get gullible and just believe everything? All right, I see 8s up in the chat. We get some understanding. Okay. Yeah, man, it's a good read. Very, very good read. Controversial, though, boy. Got a lot of people in a hissy fit. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. We're going to be in chapter 21. Let me see if I can pull this up. They said that the ark may be blocked. I don't know how, brother. I know YouTube be tripping. Let me see if I can unblock the ark real quick. Hopefully he ain't blocked at all. Madness is going on. How y'all doing, though? Talk to me. I see NehemiYAH, the big homie, in the building. I see Kila Olam Kazdo in the building. Abundant blessings to the family, y'all. Abundant blessings to the family. Let me go in this YouTube studio. Should nobody be blocked. Let's see. Let me get back to that chapter 21. Yeah, let me see what's up. You're catching up when I think home. Should I go to settings? And then on settings, pull up. I think we go to, is it community, NehemiYAH? I think it's community. I don't think it's upload defaults. Okay, there go the moderators. All right, I'm going down. Okay, hidden users. I'm going down. I wish I had all these in alphabetical order. There's a lot of Russian has been banned on there. Those sex bots. Boy, I done had to bounce a whole bunch of million off the road. Nah, man, I don't think that. Let me go all the way to the bottom and scroll up. I don't think the brother blocked it all, man. I don't see it. Maybe I can go right to. Matter of fact, you know what? Let's try it that way. How about I just go to his channel? I'm tripping. How about I just go to his channel and see? Probably like that. YouTube out here hate. YouTube out here hate. But I find the story of these false gods interesting, nonetheless. You know what I mean? I found them very interesting. And you can practically apply these type things. That's what I like about it. Even if you agree, maybe you believe the story is science fiction, or you know what I mean, it's spookism, or whatever you may believe. My point is, whatever it is, you can always learn from it. Now how would I check if this deal blocked though? I don't know how to check if you get like. How would I check his channel to see if he was blocked? I don't even know. Video. Like I'm on his channel right now. Oh, it just say subscribed on my end. I don't know what the like how to tackle with that. But now tell salute to the God, Shalom. Tell him I don't think he blocked. I don't think he blocked. I check into it once I get done. All right, let's get back to this though. All right, let's get back to this. All right, bing, bang, bang. All right, let's work. Let's work. All right, let's get some understanding on these certain spirits of the dead, because every angel is not of the same rank or classification. All right, chapter 21. Jehovah has said, all angels below the first resurrection, except infants. All angels below the first resurrection. So these are angels who are below the grades. All right. Except infants shall be known in heaven and on earth as drudges. Some say drudges. For they are those who do not have capacity and knowledge or strength of individuality. All right, so these are the what's them little ugly things? What's them one ugly things was on Lord of the Rings? Let's pull up a picture of these ugly things. Lord of the Rings. Hideous creature. Let me go there. Let's get a picture. Let's get a visual on the drudges of what they may look like. Them one little hunchback, ugly look. Yeah, them right there. Let me pull this up so y'all see this. Let's get an understanding real quick. Yeah, let's get an understanding. These ugly ass things, man. Look at these things, man. Good night. So these would be like your drudges. Yeah, I see that. These are your drudges. These are below the grades. Schmeagle. Shout out to Roddy Rod. These will be the drudges. Schmeagle. Golem. All right, so now y'all gotta understand it on what we're looking at. Okay, so it says all angels below first resurrection except infants shall be known in heaven and on earth as drudges, for they are those who do not have capacity and knowledge or strength of individuality. As there are paupers, vagrants, beggars, and criminals on earth who are drunks, so there are spirits in Hadar who are a great trial to both mortals and angels. These are your drudges. You're no different than in the flesh. You got vagrants, you got beggars, you got criminals. All right. They are drunks in the flesh, and spirit, they're drudges. Look at this. And they inhabit mortals and the houses that mortals dwell in. So, you know, you need to learn about how to cleanse your house. You understand? Order them spirits up out of there. You moving in somewhere. Order them spirits up out of there. Look at this. And the houses that mortals dwell in. Some mortals have one or two of them. Some are scored, some have hundreds of them. Some of them continue to inhabit mortal dwellings long after mortals have abandoned them, even till they fall in ruins. And whoever comes into such a house, the drudges come upon him to live on him and with him. Y'all see this? Giving you an identity of the spirits of the dead, the different rankings. Look at this. And if a mortal has greater wisdom and strength of soul than the drudges, he rules over them. I'm gonna mention y'all something. Everybody has drudges. All right. Either you stronger than them unclean spirits, them 7 deadly sins. Either you stronger than them or you're not. And if a mortal has greater wisdom and strength of soul than the drudges, he rules over them to a good purpose, reforming them and raising them up out of darkness and helplessness. So you could actually be the one sharing the light by us speaking about and talking about the Creator and living and shining the Creator's light more and more. Even the low vibrational, below the grade spirits, the drudges, are learning. You being a benefit to them. They're learning so they can raise up. You see what I'm saying? Look at this. That's powerful. That means you can have influence. All you brothers and sisters, you can have the influence over them unclean spirits that you are in conversation with every day. You have about 100 million conversations in your head every day. Stop it. Everybody does. Either you rule over them or you don't. And if you are ruling over them, you're doing a great work of reformation. You're reforming them. Because if they're drudges in spirit, that means they were drunks in the flesh. So they crossed over in the same type of what? Characteristics. And them being around you, they're learning. They're benefiting. You understand? To raise up and learn about the Creator's light. I thought that was interesting. I say, dang, that's tight. But if the drudges have greater power than the mortal. But if the drudges, book of Yehuda, Levi, book of Leviticus 21:5. But if the drudges have greater power than the mortal, then they pull him down in darkness, making him into a man who lusts after the affairs of earth. Sometimes they help man to riches and great power. And if he has sons and daughters who are brought up in idleness, ease, and luxury, then the drudges fasten upon them, like the celebrity children. Then the drudges fasten upon them, leading them in their own way of lust and debauchery or hard-heartedness. The flesh eater is their delight. Yeah, the spirits who are below the grades, the drudges, they love those who chew on animal sandwiches. They love the flesh eater. Love the flesh eater. The flesh eater is their delight. And the drunkard, their great joy. The man of riches and kings, generals, fighting men, harlots, and soldiers are great treasures to them. To who? The drudges. The drudges. You ain't suppressing that lust to kill. You're not showing your power and wisdom that the Creator gives you over these so-called drudges. You allow them to rule you and bring you into destruction instead of you influencing them and raising them up. I trip off that. They done already crossed over and learning from you. Huh? Wow. The flesh eater is their delight, and the drunkard their great joy. The man of riches and kings, generals, fighting men, hoes, harlots, and soldiers are great treasures to them. And all manner of intoxicating things that mortals delight in are great feasts and rejoicings to them. To who? The spirits who are below the grades. The demons, according to the biblical literature. Or the drudges, the priest and the preacher who live in ease and luxury. Creflo, Leroy Thompson. The priest and the preacher who live in ease and luxury, performing showy rites and entertainments, are great harvest for them to revel with. So the drudges enjoy all that, from the soldier down to the harlot. the drunkard, the rich man, the flesh eater, the preacher who's living in luxury. Yeah. The drudge got you, Jack. Look at this. Sometimes the drudges rule over their mortal, and his neighbors call him mad, and they send him to a madhouse, which is to them a city of delight. When mortals engage in war, slaying one another, the drudges have great merriment, taking part by inspiring the mortals in the conflict. The Creator ain't sanctioning no type of warfare you Negroes claim you about to take up and do. None of it. None of it. All the religious killings in the name of a God have been inspired by a false God. All religious killings are holy killings in the name of a God have been inspired by a false God. Yeah, I said it. Go ahead. Look at it. The pleader or the lawyer is a favorite to them, not the lawyer. For his vocation brings them into the center of contention, craft, and lying. He is to them a fortunate habitation. The magician who works miracles and tricks is their favorite. Oh, for with him and through him, they can make themselves manifest. Yeah. Here you go, so caught up in a miracle or a magic trick. You ain't knowing these are drudges. That cat dominated by these unclean spirits, these drudges or drudges. And when they show themselves and are questioned as to who they are, they answer to any name that will please or flatter, even at times pretending to be gods and saviors. Bag drop. Stop it. All the false gods getting hit. From Canaan to Egypt to Ethiopia to India to all the way over to China. All the false deities being exposed. Even down to the lowest ranking spirits of the dead, the drudges. And how you can tell who's being dominated by a drudge. We got examples to look at. We got actions to look at, right? See, you can practically apply this. It ain't just leaving you hanging on a cliff. You can practically say, oh, okay, now I can go gauge the conversation. I can go gauge the conduct of even myself or even my neighbor and see what's really going on. Look at this. The tattling woman who talks about her neighbors is a good home for drudges. See, sisters, you got to put a collar on them lips. Got to put some draws on them lips. It's real easy to gossip and you know, flap your yaps, but that ain't what you want to be on. That's number one proof you're being dominated by a drudge. Look at this. And if the woman is given to talk evil, they are rejoiced beyond measure. So don't let you be a Uzi with your mouth and you speaking evil. Good night. Good night. The man who is a great boaster and liar and slanderer is a choice house for them to dwell in. Brothers, get that under control. Yeah, the look at me spirit, the great boaster. Or the lying spirit. You grow. Look, you 40, 50 years old out here still lying. Or slandering others. Dominated by the drudge. Look at this. The cheater and defrauder. The misser and the spendthrift. The curse of Jehovah. The curse of the gods. It's like a citadel for them to inhabit. They do not go, for the most part, away from the mortal they inhabit while he lives. No, they lack the wisdom or strength to go more than one length away. Some of them have strength to go to a neighbor or to a neighbor's house, and if a mortal curses his neighbor to die, then those drudges who can go to that neighbor seek out some poisonous infection and inoculate him to death, which is called casting spells. The spell casting, the witchcraft, all that's all drudge activity, Jack. That's what that is. That's why you got to be on it in spirit to cancel that. I cancel every unclean spirit and curse sent against me in the name of the Creator. I bind it, break it, and destroy it in the name of the Most High Creator. Dead on arrival. Yeah. which is called casting spells. No, there is nothing too low or foul for them. You see? See, you can identify and practically apply this now. No, there is nothing too low or foul for them. And for the most part, they are no more than idiots and deranged imbeciles. Look, in the spirit, idiots. Deranged imbeciles answering to any name or request, like a man who is drunk, one so very drunk that he does not know or care. A large city full of crime and debauchery with rich and fashionable people and people of evil habits suits them better than a country place. And that's why we be saying we're gonna have to get out these cities eventually. The cities are gonna descend further and further into darkness. We rather be out in the country in the rural. You understand? All things in common. Look at this. Drudges dwell as numerously among the rich and fashionable as among the poor. Yeah. So yeah, they at your little Pizzagate parties. Huh? And they at the crack house. Look at this. They fill the bawdy house and the temples of the idolaters. A court of justice full of pleaders, lawyers, and criminals is their delightful resort. But a battle and war is a sweet amusement to them. A laboring man who is good and honest is of little value to them, unless he is a gross feeder or drinker of intoxicating beverages. They have little use of a man that's about his business. Right? You got to make sure you for those who are still involved in the drinking. You understand? You got to make sure you balance that. Right? Make sure it's not controlling you. All right, look at this. A man who marries a rich, lazy woman receives with his wife 100 drudges or more. Here you go trying to mack a chick and cash in on her inheritance. But do you know all the spirits that come with that? See, you got to be sincere across the board, even in marriage. You got to be sincere. Can't be having no ulterior motives. You just married her because she's rich. She got an inheritance. She come with 100 drudges, Jack. 100 spirits. She come with 100 pack, boy. She come with 100 pack. She got that package. Good night. 100 drudges or more. Look at that. Drudges rule over mortals more than mortals rule over them. It was because of their abundance and their power to do evil that Jehovah commanded his chosen to marry among themselves and to withdraw from other peoples and make themselves a separate and exclusive people so that they would not be inhabited with drudges. See, that's the reason why he tell you, like, don't commingle and do all that. Because you don't understand the spirits that come with that. Look at this. When a mortal dies and he had dominion over his drudges, not only will his spirit arise to the first resurrection, but his drudges also, as a result of which they are all delivered into light. Look at that. You got dominion over them unclean spirits that you battling and all that. Do you know when it's time for you to cross over and raise up, they gonna raise with you? That's powerful. So in other words, y'all, we should be influencing the dark or unclean spirits that ain't that far from us. And when we die, the reward is they get to rise up too. But his drudges also, as a result of which they are all delivered in the light. So, yeah, raise the unclean spirits up that are around you. There the challenge is right there. No need to call for them to be destroyed. Raise them up. Continue to shine the light of Creator. Be an example for those who have even crossed over, such as a drudge, where they learning about the Creator from a mortal. And when it's time to raise, they raise with you. That's powerful. That means you influence angels. Wow. When a mortal dies and his drudges had dominion over him, Then his spirit becomes a drudge also. Good night, you vampire. And he becomes one with them, fastening on whoever comes along. But if it's in a house and no mortal comes upon whom they can fasten, then they remain in that house. Here they remain a year or 10 years or 100 years in darkness. In them old abandoned houses. Be having spirits in them, drudges, knowing nothing, doing nothing, until other angels come and deliver them, which is often no easy matter, requiring bodily force to carry them away. Yahweh gave certain signs to both angels and mortals by which it shall be known both on earth and in heaven, who is master over the earth, a mortal or his drudges. And consequently, such matter determines to what place the spirit of a man will most readily fall after death. So either we got control over these unclean spirits, you understand, or these drudges, or you don't. And look, we've been given a long list that way we all can examine ourselves and judge ourselves, right? And what are we learning? Instead of praying for them to be destroyed, you understand, shine that light and raise them up the way they'll raise. They're learning about creator from a mortal. That way they can even raise up and be delivered into the light. I find that fascinating, all right? And whether you have control over them or not, you did, where you land or fall after death is contingent upon that. Look at this, verse 23. If the mortal cannot control his habit for intoxication or gluttony or avarice or debauchery or laziness or lying or hypocrisy, preaching what he does not practice, or sexual indulgence or vengeance or anger or tattling mischievously, then he is indeed a victim in the hands of drudges. And at the time of his death, he becomes one with them. See, now you can gauge yourself. Now you can gauge yourself. All right? Now you can gauge yourself. See, you see what we got to control? Other than that, you become one of these. You become a drudge. Your progression or even your declension is all on you. For if he does not have power to rule in such matters while he is in the mortal world, he will be no stronger by the loss of his corporeal body. If the mortal, on the other hand, shall have risen to control himself over these habits and desires, then he will be indeed at the time of death already entered into the first resurrection. Y'all see that? Y'all see why the discipline is necessary? See, there's a whole system and order we talking about. We talking about progression. You understand? We talking about the proceedings. Like, what if I was to ask, well, what happens to your spirit once you cross over? You understand? What is the primary and secondary education of newborn spirits when they cross over? You dig? What could you say? How could you answer? Look at this. If the mortal, on the other hand, shall have risen to control himself over these habits and desires, then he will be indeed at the time of death already entered into the first resurrection. And the drudges, if he has any, will be delivered also. And whether they are mortals or drudges, neither their words and professions, nor their prayers, nor religious rites and ceremonies are of any value to them. But by the works and behavior of mortals, all things are known and proven. So that Yahweh's high-raised gods only need to pass once over a physical city, a corporeal city, to determine whether it is in resurrection or declension. And such gods put their angel laborers to work, sorting the afflicted as a mortal would his cattle. And if a city is badly cast in drudges, St. Louis, Chicago, New York, LA, Houston, Atlanta, Detroit, and if a city is badly cast in drudges, dragging mortals down to destruction spiritually, then the angels inspire those mortals who are on the path of resurrection to move out of the city. Yeah. You see that? The high-raised angels who are supposed to be inspiring you to righteousness, it did eventually withdraw from the cities, like the ones I just named. And if a city is badly cast in drudges, dragging mortals down to destruction spiritually, Then the angels inspire those mortals who are on the path of resurrection to move out of the city. And after that, they cast the city in fire and burn it down. And while it is burning and the drudges distracted with the show, angels of power come upon them and carry them off, hundreds of millions of them. And the mortals are thus cleared of those who would have bound them in darkness after death. How merciful the Most High is. Still send his angels. Get you together. In this matter, the infidel curses Jehovah because the houses are burned. For he judges matters by the things his soul was set upon. He says, what a foolish God, how wicked to burn the city. For he does not understand that all things are Yahweh's, and that his gods under him do not work for man's earthly aggrandizement. Do you understand this? Over here, call yourself cursing the Most High. Or if you don't go sit down somewhere, for he does not understand that all things are Yahweh's, and that his gods under him do not work for man's earthly aggrandizement. The gods up under the grid ain't working for your pick 3 numbers, your lottery numbers. They ain't working for your luxury. Because they look where they at, they own nothing and possess nothing but wisdom and love. And that his gods under him do not work for man's earthly aggrandizement, which is the curse of his spirit. But they work for his spiritual resurrection in their own way, according to the Father's light in them. To accomplish the resurrection of the drudges, dwelling with mortals on the earth, Lika, son of Yahweh, son of Jehovah, had appointed Adjudication, I don't even know how to say that, Adjudication with his 12 generals, very gods in wisdom and power, each one to a certain division of the earth. Oh, wait. All right. Oh, wait. Y'all get some understanding. Give me a 7 up in the chat. We almost done. We almost done. Trust me. And remember, Ahura, the false god, been laboring for thousands of years. We're going to get to where he finally gets to ascend into the higher emancipated heavens, the Etherian realms. All right. Chapter 22. Chapter 22. Some good reading there. Good reading there. See y'all in the building. Bless up. Bless up. Bless up. Yahweh spoke to Lika, saying, these are my ways. Reveal me to them. Those who do not know me shall be made to know me. My labor shall rise up before them, and their understanding shall be open. They shall know what I mean when I say I will destroy or I will build up. I have heard man in his vanity judging me. His eyes are on earth only, and delighting in houses and riches. Because I take them away from him, he complains against me. I gave man an example in his own child who delights in sweets, idleness, and vain pleasures. Man takes these from his child, saying, behold, they are not good for you, except in great temperance. In what way have I injured you, O man? Where have I destroyed anything that contributed to your spirit? Where have I allowed destruction to come upon you while you follow my commandments? Why shall you complain because I laid great cities in ashes? Did you see the millions of drudges you are holding down in darkness by your evil habits? You don't even understand. You understand? Right? The way the city is based off the drudges that inhabit it. And you looking at the destruction of the city as a bad thing, and the greater light, you ain't even see the millions of drudges that will behind the mortal behavior, that will behind all the works of darkness. But see, man only sees the earth. He can't see from the perspective of the Creator. So how you gonna judge him? You even rebuke the idleness and the laziness and even the sweet eating. You even rebuke that off your children. Look at this. Look what Creator is saying. Even though destruction has come, look what he's saying. I am not in anger, neither do I pull down nor burn up any place in a passion. See, he ain't vindictive. He ain't vengeful. Right? Some things have to be cut off because it's like a cancer. I am not in anger, neither do I pull down nor burn up any place in a passion. As you go forth to destroy a row of houses, to stop a great conflagration, fire, shall the people murmur against you for such an act? For your hand is stretched forth to do a good work for the whole city. My heavens are magnified cities. My heavens are magnified cities. My heavens are magnified cities. And when a mortal wing offends, behold, I clip it short. They are all mine. And with my own, no one can question my authority, which I wield for the resurrection of the whole. How you going to try to judge Creator? Stop it. Talking against Creator. Stop it. You have wept because of the destruction of the books of great learning of the ancients, but you do not know your own words. Did I not see, oh man, that you would never wean yourself from the doctrines of the dark ages if the books of great learning were not destroyed? You hear this? You got to burn all that to make way for the light of today. See, we stuck in a time capsule. We Israelites are stuck in a time capsule. We hustling backwards. We keep looking backwards for our light. Did I not see, old man, that you would never wean yourself from the doctrines of the dark ages if the books of great learning were not destroyed? In all ages of the world, you have been bound to the ancients. You are forever searching backward for wisdom. That's cold. What are we talking about her? What are we really talking about her? We hustling backwards. It ain't no type of spiritual progression. It's all backwards or a stalemate. In all ages of the world, you have been bound to the ancients. You are forever searching backward for wisdom and attentive to the angels of the dead who pretend to be ancients. While you praying to your ancestors. I behold the latter, and that they are drudges. Y'all, it's drudges, player. I send wise angels down to them to deliver them out of darkness, and they come and bear the drudges away from you for your own good and theirs. My wise angels allow mortals to burn up the books of the ancients. My wise angels allow mortals to burn up the books of the ancients, for I command them to make you open. For I command them to make you open your understanding to the living present. To the living present. Burn all that because you'll never focus on what's now in front of you. And you wonder why our rear end getting kicked up past our shoulder blades. You ain't focused now. You ain't applying nothing that you learning in today's time. You on today's time or ancient time? What kind of time you on? What time you on? Look at him. Jehovah spake to Adjudication, and through him to the 12 gods of deliverance, saying, go forth, my son, in wisdom and power. Your labor requires great strength and stratagems. For you shall find the drudges bound firmly to mortals and to mortal habitations. As a drowning man clings to a log, so cling the drudges to mortals. As a delirious man mad with drunkenness and fear flies from his best friend, so will the drudges fly from you and your host who will attempt to deliver them. They will inspire their mortals to dread and innovation of the ancient doctrines. And that's what's going on today. Understand? You're frightened. They will inspire their mortals to dread and innovation of the ancient doctrines. Yes, both of them, not knowing it, will bind themselves together with great tenacity. But you shall deliver them apart nonetheless by stratagem or persuasion or with a strong hand. And when you have them separated, you shall surround the drudges with flames of fire and carry them off to the boats, which are bulwarked with fire. And you shall deliver them in the places my son Simon has already prepared for them. You should not only deliver the drudges, but cause mortals to hate them. Mortal kings shall issue edicts against magicians, prophets, seers, and priests, and the consultation of spirits shall come to an end. And man on the earth shall turn to his own soul. Y'all heard this? Which is my light within him. And he shall cultivate it and learn to think for himself. That's the time you in now. Because the Creator is speaking through every last one of you brothers and sisters' soul. You outward looking. You upward looking, and you ain't looking inward. You ain't looking inward. All right? He say that's his light within you. At Yesenitis prepared a record to give to mortals, and so by inspiration it was given. And the nature of the record was to teach mortals to be guarded against drudges and know who was afflicted with them. This then that follows is the record, even as it stands to this day in the libraries of heaven. Namely, the man who says, I pity my neighbors, they are surrounded with drudges. The man who says only fools believe in obsession. The man who says there is no all person. The man who says my way is wisdom, yours is wicked. The man who says let no one dictate to me, I will have nothing but liberty to the utmost. The man who says as the priest thinks, so do I. The man who says if only you had my knowledge. The man who says the ancients were wiser than we. The man who says the ancients were fools. The man who says whoever does not see as I do is a heathen. The man who says whoever does not worship my God is wicked. The man who says wisdom is book learning. The man who says there is no wisdom in books. The man who says my book is sacred. It contains the sum of all revelation and inspiration. The man who says there is neither inspiration nor words of inspiration. The followers of the ancients only. He who will have nothing to do with the ancients. He who ignores rites and ceremonies and prayers. He who depends on rites and ceremonies and prayers. Whoever denies the ever-present person. Whoever follows the counsel of angels or men. Whoever will not learn from the counsel of men and angels. Whoever feels prayers and confessions to be good for others but not necessary for himself, or says I will lead and supervise you, be my servant, or says behold my rights, or behold my earnings, or behold my possessions, or talks about himself and his experiences, or tattles on others, or judges his brother, or criticizes him. The self-righteous who says behold me, I am holy, or he who does not desire new light, or says the old is good enough. Whoever labors for himself only, whoever does not labor for others in his wisdom and strength, who seeks his own ease, who does not consider others' welfare more than his own. The hypocrite preach in one way and practice in another, who does not openly speak his doctrines, lest his words jeopardize profit for his earthly means and associations. At Yesenitis said, for these are all, listen, for these are all as much under the bondage of drudges as is the drunkard, harlot, or murderer. We got a lot of self-examination to do, don't we, family? For these are all as much under the bondage of drudges as is the drunkard, the harlot, or murderer. And after death, their spirits float into the same hell or hater of darkness. We got a lot of self-examining to do. And we got to make sure that what? We have dominion over the drudges. You understand? The spirits of darkness who seek to lean you the wrong way every day. That's the condition of the battle that every man must fight. Every man, woman, and child. The battle between doing right and doing wrong. All right? Oh, we getting some understanding? You did? And look, that's going to make us, what? Judge ourselves. Because, look, true about this. We all are involved in something that was named on that list. Some more than others. In some way, shape, form, or fashion. Every last one of us are involved. All right? Ooh, we don't have to read that, dang. That's a good one too. Woo. All right, yeah, I ain't even gonna rush it. Yeah, Yahweh spake to Leah, saying, "Behold, the end of dawn draws near." So, if it's the end of a dawn, that means a resurrection is about to happen. All right, that means, all right, if it's the end of a light period, that means the earth is about to travel into some darkness. Right. So, at the end of a light period, resurrection happens. Those in the atmosphere who have sufficient grades to be a part of the emancipated heavens, they eventually ascend to the heavens with the Ethereans like Lika and them. All right, and we're gonna read and see if Ahura gets out of here. All right, Yahweh spoke to Lika, saying, "Behold, the end of dawn draws near. Go once more around the earth and her heavens, and examine into the labor of your gods. And you shall take with you your Rapon host, and a sufficient number of heralds and attendants, and such musicians and messengers as you desire. And when you have come to Yatanti, my subjective heaven," there are subjective heavens as well. See, that's a whole nother topic. There are subjective realities in heavens. Wow. And when you have come to Yatanti, my subjective heaven, you should stay a while with Kaparos and reestablish it in great holiness and efficiency. For this is my only subjective heaven in the regions of the red star. The red star is the earth. Behold, the spirits of those who die in infancy call out to me, saying, "Tell us, O Creator, how is it with the earth?" Wow. "How is it with mortals who dwell on the earth? What do they toil at? Do they have schools, hospitals, and factories like ours? Do mortals have mishaps and trials? And do they have roadways and oceans of water on the hard earth? How can these things be, O Jehovah? Why is it that mortals cannot go down into the earth and to the bottoms of their oceans, even as we do in the heavens? How did you create us alive in the earth? What was the place like? Why do mortals carry around with them such earth houses or bodies? Can they not go in them and out of them at pleasure?" And remember, these are the infants that died, you know what I mean, died early. They never got a chance to experience a mature or developed physical life. So they're asking questions, and where they are looked after and cared for is a heavenly colony called Yatanti, a subjective heaven. Wow. So even the spirits of those who have died in infancy are provided for. That's cold. That's cold. All right, even the spirits who have been aborted. All right, look at this right here. What do mortals mean? What do mortals mean, O Jehovah, by mortal life and mortal death? Does the clay and stone and water they dwell in have life and death? What do they mean by "this is mine and that is yours"? Shall everyone retain his own body? How do the earth bodies grow? Do they eat clay and stone and water? Where do they get their blood? And do they eat her so that they may have earth her? Why is it that they do not bring up their bodies with them when they are dead? Do they wear clothes over the spirit body only, or over the earth body also? Great are your works, O Jehovah. Take me to Yatanti, your great subjective heaven. We would learn by figures and pantomime the illustrations of the earth. We would learn by your panoramic heaven what mortals do, how they live, and what their schools are like. The subjective heaven is a school for the spirits of the infants who have died early and didn't get a chance to experience a physical life to the fullest. So they still got to be taught. They still, in some way, shape, form, or fashion, have to have a physical experience. You understand? So the Creator has provided what's called subjective heavens. That's cold. All right, so here, how they live, what their schools are like, how they have contrived to teach the corporeal senses by corporeal things, how their boats are made and propelled, how their vehicles travel along upon the solid earth. Jehovah said, "For which reason, O Lika, you shall see to it that Yatanti is perfected to this instruction, as well as to arouse from stupor the spirits of the dead who do not desire to rise up from the earth." Lika told the Rapine host of Jehovah's words, and he also gave command to his chief marshal to provide the necessary fire ship or otivan with officers, heralds, musicians, and messengers. Ooh, wee. All right, so then they finna go on the journey. All right, we're gonna keep going. I'm gonna jump on down. Now, I might as well finish that off. Verse 12. Accordingly, as soon as all things were ready, Lika committed the throne of Jehovah and Theophracostan to his vice goddess. Shout out to the sisters. I mean, over here too, it shows you that the sisters are very active in what's going on. High ranking too. Look at this. To his vice goddess, and Lika and the Rapans with their attendant host departed on their journey. Now, since Lika first came to the plateau of Theophracostan, it had been inhabited by billions of angels, and they were high in the grades. All right, so they not drudges. All right, they have grades high enough to be a part of the resurrection that's coming. All right, so much so that the officers of selection were already preparing them by the millions for brides and bridegrooms to Jehovah. And there were thousands of heavenly cities besides YAH'KI, which were now in beauty, gaiety, refinement, and delight with music and most magnificent rites and ceremonies. Then there were officers over these officers whose place it was to sort and arrange the inhabitants of cities, and others over these for each 144 cities. There were that 144 again. And yet another over these officers. Now, remind you, this resurrection is happening. They are already in spirit, but they haven't ascended to the higher heavens, the emancipated heavens. They still bound to this physical earth. All right. So they didn't died in spirit and crossed over and have raised in the grades, meaning the work that they are doing in spirit to assist mankind to raise up, to assist mankind to be righteous, is good enough to get them a one-way ticket out of here. You know what I mean? That's tight. And we're going to read about Ahura finally getting up out of here. All right. Then there were officers over these officers whose place it was to sort and arrange the inhabitants of cities, and others over these for each 144 cities. And yet another over these officers, and he was called Marshal of Theophracostan, and he was of the same rank as the marshals of the host of Lika, confirmed with the marshal in chief of YHWH'S throne. Chapter 25. We're coming to the end of it. All right, coming to the end of it. Y'all getting some understanding? Give me a 5 up in the chat. Bless up, bless up, bless up. Let's work. Let's work. YHWH said to Lika, finish your visit and your inspection, my son, in all the places of Adar on the earth, leaving the land of Japheth to the last. And you shall go there at the time of Chine's resurrection. Chine was a great prophet in the earth. Right? The Creator was dealing with him in the regions of China during the time of, I believe, Abraham. You know what I mean? Or not, it was Abraham, Brahma, Poe, and Iwata. China might have been after that. China might have been around the time of Moses then. But either way, what I'm saying is the Creator had his line of light in that region as well, or over Japheth. And he raised up certain men to go against what was already going on, meaning the darkness. So he say, leave China to the last. All right, so you should go there at the time of Chinese resurrection and descend with your ship and take him up from the earth. You shall bring him with you to YAH'KI, where he shall remain a few days, that dawn remains. And when your host ascend to Etheria, see, that's what we talking about, up and out of here. All right, up and out. You shall take Chine with you and make your home his home, until such time as he is taught the ways and powers of the higher heaven. See? You ain't to be bound to the atmosphere forever. Eventually, you got to get up out of here and witness the house of many mansions that Yahshua was talking about, the higher heavens. All right, look at this. For since his corporeal life is a sacrifice for the resurrection of men, he shall receive special care and assistance in heaven. Lika had been previously informed by the god of China, as to the time of Chine would die and be burnt up with his ashes scattered to the four winds, and the regathering up of a corporeal form of Chine, and the 7 days duration prior to being taken up into the Otivan, the fire ship. So he was about to be cremated, but the high raised angels would gather the elements back up that made his body into some type of corporeal physical form. That's cold. That's called. And the 7 days duration prior to being taken up into the fire ship, the Otivine. So Lika shaped the course of his Otivine according to the instruction of his messengers who had been appointed for that purpose, so that he would reach the field in time to raise up Chine before the multitude. The god of Chine had prophesied to mortals through his ward that a fire ship would descend from heaven on a given day and take Chine up to heaven. Accordingly, a great multitude of mortals were assembled in the ash field, where they cast the ashes of the dead, watching for the heavenly ship, of which matters Lika had been previously informed by his messengers, and Lika had in turn informed the god of Chine as to the time he would appear with the ship, so that he, God, could cause Chine to walk in the middle of the field and so be caught up. And in the hands of these great gods, all these matters were carried out to the hour and minute. And see, precision. And Lika caused the fire of the ship to be made visible to mortals. The size of the ship was 10 times larger than the field of the dead, so that when the people saw the light of the ship, they feared and trembled. And many of them fell down, bewailing that the world was coming to an end. So God caused Chine to walk out in the field, and Lika sent down a whirlwind vortex and took him up into the ship in the presence of tens of thousands of mortals assembled. And now Lika bore his course for Yagananatra, for the end of the dawn of Bond was at hand. So here come the resurrection. Look at this, chapter 26, and that's it. Here come the resurrection. Look at this. All right. Lika sent messengers to all his gods and lords to install their successors, right? Because it's time for them to ascend. So they got to install those who have been training to be a god, to be a Lord God. You understand? To take their position. So they will raise, and then a new God will sit on the throne. God don't sit on the throne forever. And remember, God is a title upon a man who was once a living man. He's been appointed as God or a Lord God by the angels who are above him in rank. You see? So when you say God is sitting on the throne, what God? What God you talking about? Right? And how long does he sit on the throne? You see that? How long does he sit on the throne? Right? It'll blow your mind. A couple hundred years. And then it's time for him to ascend. You feel me? And he appoint a successor. Look at it. After which the gods and lords were to report in Theovrakistan ready for the cyclic resurrection. So a resurrection happens in cycles every few hundred years. But it happens from the other side. All right, the spirits who have crossed over the past couple hundred years, you know what I mean? They're waiting on a resurrection to happen, to be emancipated from these heavens of this earth. All right, we still living. We ain't crossed over yet. All right, when we cross over, we gonna have to labor. You understand? Labor to raise up mortals and inspire mortals to righteousness. That way our grade continues to rise. And by the time of the next resurrection, we be ready to rock. In my Father's house of many mansions. You see that? So look at this. And he commanded them to bring their Etherian host with them, except those who volunteered to remain the next Dan of 200 years. Lika had previously sent word to Etheria by swift messengers to Lisa, goddess of teanaturall in Etheria. Look at that. Shout out to the sisters. All right. Goddess of teanaturall in Etheria, next to HOWGIL. And he said to Lisa, my resurrection will be 8 links, each one equal to 8 billion brides and bridegrooms. Send a cowpoon to deliver them. Lisa sent word back to Lika, saying, O Yahweh, I am delighted with the command of your son Lika, chief of Vetapuisa. I will deliver the chain of cowpoon. Then Lisa gave her command. So we got the gods and goddesses that work. Peace to the righteous gods and the Vanity goddesses. Create a gang in the building, baby. When we say peace to the gods and goddesses, for any nitwits out there, we ain't talking about praising the false gods and goddesses. We're saluting you. Okay, anyway. Then Lisa gave her commands in teanaturall to have her builders construct the cowpoon. See, so she like, go build that. Right, they had to build it. That's cold. And she also set her officers to work selecting the hosts she would need for her great undertaking, for she had been notified in sufficient time, as it was a matter of great magnitude, even in Etherian realms. And so perfectly were Lisa's commands carried out that all was ready, not one day too much or too little wide of the mark. And then she embarked with her host for the red storm, the earth with her billion trained resurrectionists. Oh, wait. There are angels highly skilled in resurrection, with her billion trained resurrectionists on her long journey, 20 billion miles. Yahweh said, carry forth my brides and bridegrooms. Make them know the magnificence of the heavens I have created. And here we go fighting over the earth. Now, we talking about the heavens, Jack. What is you talking about? House them not together in a small corner. Let them feast their souls on the splendors of my great heavens. That's cold. Meanwhile, Leek and his host and Theo Frockenstein were getting ready for the ceremonies and for the Ascension. The gods with their hosts were now coming in from every quarter of the lower heavens, bringing in their harvests and quartering them in the places allotted by the marshals. Time to resurrect, y'all. We up and out of here. What you talking about? Most conspicuous. Here we go. Look at this. This is powerful right here. Most conspicuous and beloved of all was who? Ahura. Remember Ahura? Remember little Cetus? Going back to the Vanity and Humiliation of a False God, part 1. You'll see what little Cetus or Ahura went off and started establishing himself and setting himself up. He eventually fell and was in torment, was delivered, restored, and given a judgment. Dig? And he had to put on the prison garments and labor to resurrect his entire kingdom. And that's what he started doing. And a lot of them started ascending before he could even ascend. Now is his time. And y'all, if he would have just been patient for a few hundred years, he'd have been got to Ethereum. But based off the vibration of being a false god, that pride, all right, not mastering those passions, you understand? He was bound to the atmosphere of the earth or the lower heavens, y'all, for over 2,000 years. All right, most conspicuous and beloved of all was Ahura. Next to him were the 5 true gods, Enain, Enjek, Enlay, En-O, and Enyith, with their heavenly hosts restored to them. For it was through these 5 gods that the 3 mortals, Capelia, Moses, and Chine, that's what we just read about. Now you know the gods who were inspiring Moses and Capelia of India and Chine of Japheth. It was through these 5 gods that the 3 mortals, Capelia, Moses, and Chine, had delivered the faiths of Venu, India, Japheth, China, and Arabia, Northeast Africa, which includes Egypt, the land of Canaan, and all that. These 5 gods had in 5 years changed the mortal dominions and laws of India and China and sent 4 million faiths on a westward journey across the earth. And along with the Lord God Gitchi of Gautama, have firmly established the All One, the ever-present Great Spirit. Gautama is America. And a lot of the native, of our native brothers and sisters, and a lot of us are the native or indigenous brothers and sisters. Our forefathers were into the worship of who? The Great Spirit. A lot of evil and wickedness. I ain't talking about the idolatry. I'm talking about the acknowledgement and the reverence of the all one ever-present Great Spirit who we call Yahweh or Jehovah. Look at this. And the 4 great divisions of the earth, and he had delivered from bondage all the faiths on the face of the earth. Great also was the work accomplished by Adjudication and by Usamis and by the gods who had delivered the hills and the knots and by many others. So good and great were the works of them all that a history of any one of them in the 5 years' labor would make a book that a man cannot read in a lifetime. What is we talking about her? What is we reading her? You couldn't read. Look, we really wrote down what the work the gods in them had to do to establish and to maintain Yahweh's line of light. Man, it would take a man couldn't read it in a lifetime. Look at this. And we talking about a labor of 5 years. And they had left successors to carry out what they had founded so that all the lower heavens were in order, system, and discipline, the like of which had not been for 2,000 years. The drudges of the earth were removed away from mortals, The battlefields of the earth were cleared of the chaotic spirits slain in wars. Yeah. Thus the whole earth and her heavens were delivered into a new condition in the way and form of Jehovah's light. That's powerful. And this was the ark of deliverance in bond. Then descended Lisa with her chain of cowpone, with her ships of fire stretched wide as the earth. What is we talking about her? And the goddess pull up. And the goddess pull up looking fly. What is we talking about her? Got a fire ship wider than the earth. And the host of Theovrakistan, the brides and bridegrooms, 64 billion sons and daughters of Jehovah, stood waiting, watching, nervous, but filled with inexpressible delight. And they saw the cowpone coming, knew the mission of the mighty goddess Lisa, daughter of Yahweh. Arrayed in spotless white, the 64 billion stood, shuddered at the etheric current. The whirlwind of the higher heaven stood pure. The exalted affianced of great Yahweh, great Jehovah. Nearer and nearer came the mighty sea of Etherian fire, and nearer till it landed at the plateau of Theovrakistan. Then Lisa came forth. Look at the goddess. Look at the goddess. Then Lisa came forth, saluting, and being answered by great Lika, Jehovah's son, proceeded before Yahweh's throne. Then Lisa demanded in the usual form while she had been summoned in Jehovah's name. Lika also answered in the usual form to bestow Jehovah's affianced sons and daughters. After this, each of the 5 gods of the earth took their hosts and bequeathed them to Jehovah through Lisa, his daughter. But so great and grand were the ceremonies that mortal words cannot describe them. And as for the awe and magnificence together with the music, could they be described to mortals? Understandably, they scarcely could live because of the enchantment. That's how cold the vision is. Or you mess around and die because you mess around and pass out. If somebody really explained to you and conveyed to you the vision of what was happening. That's cold. But there is a time and a limit and an end to all such matters. And so there was to the labor of Lika, son of Jehovah. Salute. Salute, big brother. The hosts were wed, and they marched aboard the great Etherian ships, the cowpone. Lika and his host went into his own Eravagna. And as it were, with the thread of light, he made fast to the cowpone and gave the word, the command to go. So he attached his Eravagna, his fire ship, to the goddess Lisa fire ship. Was like, come on, let's rock. All right. Then up rose the mighty seas of fire, the 8-link cowpone and the Eravagna, slowly, steadily moving onward, upward, higher and higher, faster and faster, still higher. And thus departed Lika with his billions of upraised sons and daughters of Yahweh, Jehovah. And thus ended the dawn of bond. Bag drop. Good night. Good night, good night, good night. That was powerful there. That was powerful there. And we see that the false gods, Sea Tusk or Ahura, eventually got a chance to get up out of here. You understand? So let that all be a lesson to us. Let it be a lesson to us. We can learn from the lesson of the false gods who failed, who were full of pride, stepped off and did their own thing, eventually failed, eventually was in torment, eventually was delivered, restored, given their kingdoms back, and then had to work. And then one that worked for well over 2,000 years that eventually got a chance to get up out of here. You dig? So if you got some understanding today, give me a Yahoo up in the chat. Bless up. I salute you all in the wisdom and love of the Creator. Believe that and know that. I create a gang. You bring them. We raise them. We learned about the drudges today too. Right? And how you supposed to have the dominion over your drudges. You supposed to be teaching them drudges about the Creator. And that way, when you raise up, they can raise as well. So we even powerful enough to what? Influence the unclean spirits who need that Etherian light. So you can either dismiss them and pray they be destroyed, or do what a faithists do. You understand? Raise them up. Just like you do somebody on the streets. Raise them up. Don't complain about the gangbangers. Raise them up. Now, we here to bust open a few hells and shine some Etherian light. You understand? Ooh, I see y'all in the building. Okay. Okay. What did y'all hear today that was evil, though? Did y'all hear anything evil? Or did you hear anything that resonated with your soul? If you heard something that resonated with your spirit, give me a 1. If you heard anything evil, press 2 and explain what you heard that was evil. Give me a 1 if you heard anything that resonates with your spirit and soul. Give me a 2 if you heard anything evil. And with the 2, please type in what you heard that was so evil and demonic. Boy, I would love to understand what your mind is processing that. What speed your mind is processing that. You dig? Give me a 1 if it resonates. All right, give me a 2 if you're hearing something evil, because that's where it's evil and then blabbing me. And it's like, no, Jack, it's just exposing what the false gods and deities are hiding it. Understand? I found interesting too, it say the drudges delight in the flesh eater, but many other things too that we all may be still fighting. But the drudges delight in the flesh eater. I found that interesting. Along with, and we just ain't pointing the flesh eaters out. Along with many other things we all battle. All right. How about we inspire the unclean spirits that are around? Right. And that's gonna challenge us what? To teach more and more about Creator. Constantly. Shine that light. Do good unto others. Bless others. Choose the day not to be angry, not to be afraid, not to be doubtful, not to be fearful. Choose the day to walk in power, to be healed or to heal somebody, to be a blessing to somebody, put a smile on somebody's face. Choose this day to be lovable, approachable. You understand? We are not to be given in. You understand? To these so-called drudges. Yeah, YAH'S, you're right. That was interesting. But it showed every aspect of life that we all in some way, shape, form, or fashion dealing with. So that means we all got it. Inherited from, our foreparents. All right. You just got to learn to dominate them and control them and have dominion over them. All right. And with all the faith and knowledge in the Creator, you got that. That's easy work. That's easy work. I found it interesting he was able to get up out of here, though, man. You know what I mean? That was very, very interesting. All right. And there's more false gods, too. We're going to get into the actual doctrines, though, of HeRBAL. We got to get to his actual doctrine so you can see. And when you understand what he put into this earth and why he got a war against that. As long as the Lord and God worship in the earth, he got a war against that. We're going until then, he's bound to the lower heavens. All them, Osiris, Ten, Sudga, all them. They're currently working against the doctrine that they put out there. Yeah. So, love and light, wisdom and power to create. I salute you all. Continue to pray for us, and we continue to pray for you all. I believe our sister class is coming on this evening. Yeah, I think it was 3,000 years. I need to go back and put the numbers on. I think the sister class is this evening, the Nazarene Faith and Sisterhood channel. Sisters be on there dropping some jewels. I salute the goddesses. I salute the sisters all day. Y'all already know. You dig? Check out our brothers' channels. My brother's Cosmo and Cal TV. Check him out. Like, subscribe, share. Check out SHALOM TV. Like, subscribe, share. Y'all already on Honor and Humility. You dig? And let them know the Creator Gang is out here. You bring them, we raise them. Dig? And that's what we here to do. Shout out to my Nazarene scene brothers and sisters. Anybody want to have a conversation, right? Let's get that done. Let's get that done. You dig? Some of us have read through, all right, OWASP at this point. And for anybody that still got a problem, we calling you to the mat on it. Calling you to the mat on it. What is evil about what you are reading? All right, I'm not talking about what you disagree with, because it's many things you look into and you have a disagreement. You have disagreements on or about. I'm simply asking because it's so demonic, like people are claiming. What are you reading that's demonic? What have you read that the Creator is condoning in there that's demonic or evil? And if you ain't got nothing, it's time for you to sit down somewhere. All right? Sit down somewhere and listen. You may gain something that you can practically apply to your life. Understand? So choose this day, family, to walk in certainty of the Creator. Right? It's more than a belief. It's a certainty. Right? Your knowledge or your belief in the Creator of all should be a certainty that cannot be wavered. You understand? And it is what it is. And if you really want to get down into it, it's real simple. The Messiah taught it. All right? Love the Creator above all and love your neighbors yourself. On these two laws, hang all the laws and commandments. It's that simple. All right? And work on purifying your body. All right? So all praises, glory now to the Most High. I want you to know this book. Okay. Really only one flaw in the book and or making of the book. And I want you to know this bullet in case the devil tried to hit you with it. I mean, look, but you know what's crazy? Because everybody's perspective is different. It's like the truth is subjective, right? You just required to do righteous works unto others and work on purifying the Creator's temple. Destroy the idols out your heart and your mind, right? That's what you require to do. Even in the Nazarene gospel, they talk about the man who was healed from being blind. And once he was able to see, he started bragging like he saw everything. And the Messiah told him, like, look, don't be boasting about what you can see. Can you imagine what you haven't seen yet? And he healed somebody who was deaf. And when he was able to hear, he was doing, I haven't heard everything. You only imagine what you ain't heard. You know what I mean? It's forever onward and upward. You're forever going to be growing. You dig? But that don't mean you forever going to see things the same way. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I look at it. You take what you can from it, apply it to your life practically, and then keep it moving. You know what I mean? That's what it all comes down to. You know what I mean? So all praise, glory, and honor to the Most High. Bing, bing, bang. All right, y'all. I'm about to get up out of here. Y'all continue to pray for your brethren and sisters. We pray for y'all. Much love. Love and light, wisdom and power, the Creator. All right, I salute you all in the name of the Most High. You dig? And I stand with you, regardless if you're dealing with a plague or you're dealing with some unclean spirits. I stand with you. You dig? And declare you victorious this day in the name of Yahweh. All right? Love and light, wisdom and power. Until the next time. Shalom. Let's work. Shout out to the haters, jaw jackers, and naysayers. Yeah. We love y'all too. Bless up, clip up, create a game.